If we get a motion to come out of recess,
No, second.
all in favor? All right, we are back in session. So we are moving into this budget workshop discussions and I go to county manager if he wants to just review what we have in front of us here.
Well, thank you very much. We're doing this during the daytime, so we'll be here hopefully when the sun sets.
Yes.
It's 8 o'clock, sure enough.
You know, over the years, I've always tried to find a musical way to approach my work, and at budget time, it used to always be the Rolling Stones, you can't get what you want, or I can't ever get any satisfaction. Well, this morning I woke up with an epiphany. And it's biblical, and it's the old hymn on solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. And I say that because we've been focused on this chart
Yeah.
for months.
Yeah.
And that's been sinking sand. And that's not where we find ourselves, for this organization and for the Board of Commissioners. And I want to draw your attention to a long sheet with, colors at the top. And the significance of that orange bar, anything below that orange bar is prior to my arrival in Gates County. So I can try to report the history, but I can't really always explain it. It's the same for William, but I wanted to indicate as we look, this is the fourth budget now that William and I have had a chance to work on for the board. The first budget was the 23-24. And in that year, the board had given us authorization to spend over $1 million of fund balance. But we didn't spend it. And in fact, we put 218,000 back into the fund balance. So that's a swing of $1.2 million. The next year, we had 711,000 authority to spend. We didn't spend it and put 554. And I was really hoping Danny Hale was going to be here because I've had 3 conversations with him where he's come to my office to let me know what's happening. And he loves the word projection.
Mhm.
And he said he's been asking for projections on where they're going to end up the fiscal year, where they're going to be ADM wise. And over the years, I've tried not to push William, but I've always respected his projections.
Mhm.
And so I used to joke all the time that he either had a crystal ball or a money tree. And he assured me that when he moved over here to work, he didn't bring any of that stuff with him. But I asked him to take a look at where we are, because we're now in the 12th month of the fiscal year. And he has indicated, I'll say with cautious confidence, that we're gonna put back approximately $650,000 at the close of this fiscal year. So in 3 fiscal years, that's $1.4 million where the board has given us authority to spend some savings. The savings were not touched, but then 1.4 million was added back to your rainy days fund. So I really believe we are on some solid ground here. And I hope to goodness we never have a chart like this with the red lines. And for Commissioner Barrett, the question was asked just a minute ago about the 430,000 projected deficit. You may have already heard from Mr. Hill, but he met with us yesterday, William and Warren, myself, and I pressed him on, what about this deficit? Are we going to have a negative fund balance for the school general fund? And he assured me no. He assured me that their calculation right now is there'll be about $50,000 to the good. He says it's slim, but it's in the positive territory. So,
I'd say that's a hell of a turnaround.
I
Just a
agree,
few months
in
ago.
just a few months.
That's a hell
Yeah.
of a turnaround. Good thing, yeah.
Yeah,
well, and let's do this. Like I asked William, when William shared that number with me yesterday, I asked him to write it on his wall. not on the drywall, but he's got a bulletin board with all the correspondence that has deadlines for his reports.
Hold me to
So I asked him to please write that number on his bulletin board, so we can check that in a few months.
Yeah.
But again, I've had the experience with him that he doesn't share a number with me that he typically doesn't believe we can not just achieve, but probably exceed. And I wouldn't be putting him on the spot if I hadn't had a couple of conversations with him. Because I had a conversation with him, are you comfortable with me putting this on this piece of paper? And he told me I could. So, and I don't know if any of you want to quiz him, but he looked at all of our projected expenditures and also looking at the fact we have sales tax for this fiscal year, 4 months still yet to receive. So when we close the books June 30, we'll have accounts receivable for July, August, September, and October. So it really won't be till about October 15th when we get the Department of Revenue numbers to know with certainty how did we end up. So, but again, barring some unbelievable disaster, we feel pretty good. And again, if you look back 20 years, y'all are in good shape. And the folks that came before you tried to keep it in good shape and tried to keep it going in the correct direction. And again, I would not attempt to address any up or down movement because things change. I believe it was the year or two before my arrival, the county had received loan proceeds. The county borrowed money for the Viper radio system.
Yeah.
And I think that's why in 21, 22, you see a big gain of $1.9 million. And then when they spent it, there was a bit of a drop, but they had $2.6 million budgeted and only used $588,000. And of course, COVID is mixed into several years there. And I don't know what year the first, I don't know if that was 20 or 21.
21 year.
I was gonna say, I think it'd be the 2022 fiscal year, yeah.
But overall, I mean, this county has done well. Y'all can sleep well at night knowing you're in I really believe rock solid shape.
So what are we now as a percentage for our fund balance?
The audit had us at 37%, I believe it was.
The budget's gone up each year, so it looks like, I mean, while we've gone up, but also the budgets have gone up significantly this last.
Yeah, they do it on the percentage of expenditures from the last fiscal year.
Okay.
And we were at, it's 37 point something. I've got the other book in my.
Yeah, I was just trying to see it, look at these numbers while they've grown. Some years have gone up, but it looks like in the last 5 or 6 years, it's gone up significantly, but so has, I guess, the cost of living and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were pretty good shape back then. The perception was publicly that the fund balance was not very high. That was the perception. I know talking to people back there pre-COVID, people saying, yeah, we didn't have much more reserves, and it looks like we did have, actually.
Well, if somebody's inclined, our audits are available on our website going back to 06. That's why I stopped where I did. And you can read through the audit. It'll state what the percentages and what the available fund balance and unassigned number is. But
I think this is good. I mean, yeah.
you're in solid
Snapshot for
shape.
20 years.
Well, I also want to mention, on that third bullet, about the earnings for investment, interest. And if you had your line item details on page 112 in the revenue section, the county for many, many years has been a member of the North Carolina Cash Management Trust. But I don't know how active we had ever been. And for the 2 fiscal years prior to my being involved, our interest earnings averaged just $19,000 a year. And William brought the initiative to the board about starting to shift some of our funds. And And that is a slow process. One, Southern Bank has limits on how much money you can move on particular dates. Number two, for William to get credentialed with the state treasurer's office and with North Carolina Cash Management, he had to work through just getting his name into the system. I want to say it took over 6 months for that to be accomplished. And the other thing was, we did not want to make a run on the bank here locally and cause them headaches. So those transfers took place in I think, very incremental, not necessarily on any particular schedule, just when he had a few hours he could concentrate on it. But it's a work in progress, and we're going to continue to try to build on that. But anytime we can earn a couple of $100,000 in a year off of your money in the bank, that's saving tax rate dollars. So we're going to continue to work on that. Sales tax. I just wanted to mention, we talked about sales tax last time we were in this room, and the fact that, and Chowan's my favorite one to pick on, because their retail sales are like triple what Gates County's are. But for the fiscal year 25, we outpaced them by $500,000 on receipts. And again, that's because of the formula that's used for distribution. They get every penny they're entitled to, but there is a system to try, I hate to use the word necessarily equalize, but there is an effort in Raleigh, prescribed by the General Assembly, to try to help the low wealth counties. And I'd say many of us in this region benefit from that, but it appears that we've done really well for some of our counterparts. But we beat Camden by 900,000 and almost the same amount on Washington County. And of course, you're not going to compete with a Pasquotank, but I think we, for our position in the world, we're doing well. But William and I have continued to talk about this and wrestle with this. We still are really suggesting that we lean on the very tight conservative end of the sales tax provision. But if the board collectively wants to move off that, I mean, that would be your call. My fear always is if you decide to adjust that anticipated sales tax and we fall short, at the end of that audit report, they all turn to the manager and say, well, what happened, Mr. Manager?
Yeah.
But again, it's crafted to be fairly tight. And again, last fiscal year, and I sort of already covered that, but that was 24-25 was a budget that y'all helped put together and approved. And we were given authority initially for 492. It moved up to 711. We didn't spend a dime of it and put $500,000 in. But I want to talk about this year's program, or this year's budget, 25-26. The fund balance we started with that was appropriated was solely for capital outlay.
Mhm.
There have been not even a dozen budget amendments. And the one that was most significant was helping the sheriff with the added position last August.
Mhm.
And of course, you'll see number 5, the daycare program support that the board voted on, approved a budget amendment, but the schools did not take the initiative to accept that. So that 50,000 for sure just falls back into the treasury. But again, this is the fiscal year we're talking about, that we believe we're going to exceed revenue over expenditures by $650,000 or more. So we're going. So this number 7 is Mr. Danny Hale's report and request on behalf of the Board of Education. He came in yesterday with Mr. Stephen Harrell as well, as they reported the other night, the 2.953 for the general fund. For the capital outlay, they're asking me to go to 200,000 to help with those Chromebooks and technology things. And again, that's what we would recommend you utilize from the school capital reserve for what he's been describing as a yeah, he gave, and this may have been distributed the other night, I don't know, Mr. Hale came in with it, because just to give their projections he would use on some of their transitional costs that we're going to do, but that's $325,000 with the specific request from the Board of Education, and some of you may already have heard this in conversation Monday night, but the Board of Education is asking that this board consider appropriating $100,000 of that 325 immediately so that they have some cash flow that they can work with to pay for moving trucks and labor and all of that. And he gave a very enthusiastic report of the progress they're trying to make. So William has prepared
And it's going to prepare, I haven't got it yet.
well, I guess with your authority,
Right.
we had all the paperwork.
So this is just asking for them to be able to have some of the funds for the moves in June, rather than waiting to July.
Which is not-
But they're working now.
Yes, so
on getting
yes,
the
so
moves.
we'd like to get them to.
I think
I made the promise that I would offer a motion to approve that.
Support it as well, and I think we
Yeah.
probably all know the school system needs help for the
Use the
moves.
cash to
And
do the stuff they need to do. So
And
is there
it's,
appropriate to do the motion right now?
well, yes, because since
Yeah.
we're in a regular meeting that was recessed, you can take any
we
action.
can take action today.
So
We take the action, I'll get the paper.
Alright, so we have a
and I get the
motion to-
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion.
So.
All right, if there's no discussion, all in favor?
Okay.
All right, so that's good.
I'll let you all decide who's gonna call Mr. Hay, but he'll,
Chair.
he'll,
It's yours.
he'll be pleased to hear that. The other item we discussed was the facility responsibilities as the calendar flips over to, July. And he, as just one example, explained the complicated tangle of their utility billing with Dominion Power, where multiple schools come in on the same bill, and some schools have more than one meter. And he is suggesting that we leave those bills in the Board of Education's name, and that the county honor its obligation by reimbursing them on a monthly basis for what those charges would be.
On a monthly basis or for like, until we can transfer it out?
No,
Or he's saying keep it?
he's saying as of July 1, we would be
Okay.
responsible
Right.
for the cost of utilities, mowing, any incidental repairs, keeping the alarm system active, things of that nature. And we're proposing that be in the budget for July.
For us for July,
Yeah.
right?
And we would not give them the 80,000, we would simply wait for their invoice each month and pay them.
That's,
And if there's anything left over, it's contingency for you all to use.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking as far as what's the vehicle, how we're gonna do that, because, you know, if they're having like all the schools come in at one lump sum bill, here you go.
I can break it.
How, at what point in time does it get to the point where they're no longer getting that lump sum bill that includes Buckland, and that bill is coming straight to the county for the county to pay the resident
Well,
Dominion?
I can't answer that question other than to say it's probably next to impossible to have it taken off right away.
Yeah, I know it's not a right of way thing, I'm just talking about, is there a process of saying, hey,
Yeah.
if you're no longer paying this bill,
Here.
Mr. Dominion is not going there, it's going over to us and we're paying it.
Yeah,
So, but there is, we
We,
want to try to do that, right?
we will work up toward that. Yes, I think their focus right now is getting folks moved. They're gonna try to help
okay,
teachers get classrooms set up right away if they're interested, so they don't leave things in boxes or awaiting them to arrive for the fall. Yeah,
They're moving, one teacher to move into TSP by the light and stuff. And my question though is for William, I think related to what Nathan's getting at. Right now, for the county's electric bills, they come straight to you? Or does like Brad get them for like pump stations or anything else?
Basically go to Crystal, since she kind of handles most of
So
this.
this would just be a matter of this bill would now come in.
If
to
it gets
count,
switched
right?
over, yes.
And like for me, I get for utilities and I get a list from Dominion Power, like for 20
Yeah, they
pump
usually break
stations.
down the high.
And it's a meter on every one of them.
Right.
You know, like turn one every fact and get a new one from a developer.
Yeah,
We just have it and run to the bottom of our bill and it's not terribly complex. So to do that.
Calling Dominion asking them to move a meter number from their billing to our billing shouldn't be difficult.
Right.
It should be a phone
For
call.
me, it's just a matter of me, I actually, what I do is I just send a email to them and just say, hey, please add this meter number to our account for like South Harbor Development area.
well, I think with the timing.
Yeah.
All this has come up at one time,
Right.
and we really had time to even do.
Oh, yeah, I get it. And I think that's what we're talking about. If we got reimbursed for a month or two, that's good, but I wouldn't want to be in.
Yeah, well, I would think we would work on trying to get everything squared out.
Like July, August, by the time the next school year
Yeah.
rolls around for them.
We
it should-
believe this is more than enough for 12 months. It's just we'll pay it on an as-needed basis till we get everything converted.
Okay, I mean, so just doing this until we get converted. We're not talking about doing it long term, just a short term.
No, this is just,
Okay,
Our hope is that some decisions will be made on what to do with the school,
right.
and
Yeah.
whatever it is, it's gonna be whoever's responsibility. when
Yeah,
it happens.
Those
Yeah, that's-
conversations.
All in once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll leave it.
so that will be, with the board's, concurrence,
Is there a dollar amount associated with that?
$80,000.
Is that's 80,000 right, but the
Yeah.
facility responsibility?
And that's not in our current.
it's not in our current, so we would have to be an allocation of
And
funds.
this won't add to the schools for their current expense. It'll be isolated
We're
stuff.
gonna make it those special appropriation.
Say again what we're covering with that.
Um,
Electricity, obviously.
Right here, yeah.
Water bill.
It's right here, wastewater permit testing, mowing, alarm service, incidental repairs, and utilities.
say somebody throws a rock through a window, we would ask Mr. Green to repair the window and we would
And bill
cover
them.
their expense.
Yeah.
And they're on an alarm system right now and that'll continue till we get that switched over, but at least initially when the alarm goes off, he would be the one to respond and, you know, see if it's a door or a jar or, you know, something else.
I mean, I think that's reasonable as long as we're moving towards it coming back under us rather than long-term paying out to them.
Yeah.
Do we have to have a motion for that or?
I need some direction on if I put this line item in the budget. It's okay, I'm gonna have to allocate fund balance to cover it, so.
We're okay doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that's.
So we're gonna have a separate line item in the
It's
budget.
gonna be a separate line item, that relocation or whatever I want to call it.
And every so often, you will come to us and say, I need to relocate X amount of dollars from the fund balance to this line item.
No, well, it'll be back.
And it'll be put in that line item, I can report to you whenever they.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Back,
All
yeah.
right, so you're gonna go ahead and put that $80,000 budget in that line item and then.
It'll be in there for me to use
Yeah.
whenever they do
Okay.
request,
Gotcha.
yes.
Sounds good.
Y'all are moving fast. Now for the fun part. William has worked, I won't say day and night, but he's worked diligently.
We are grateful.
Bringing you a revised proposed budget. He's got a handout.
Okay.
We've eliminated public positions, there's part-time community center staff positions, there's a finance office position that have been frozen 2 years ago. Yes, I remember this year. And the tax levy is reduced to eliminate the tax increase that was proposed in the third recent.
One thing I did not get a chance to put in here, and I can get it done because I got to go in and make an adjustment for this new line item, with that extra 100,000 for the school. But that's just going to be transferred out of school capital reserve, so it won't be.
Okay.
I didn't hear that one. The extra 100,000 they wanted for the capital outlay. I haven't put that in here yet, but it's gonna come out of school capital reserve, so it's not gonna affect any of our numbers.
But then how much cap, you don't have much capital reserve though, do they?
I didn't hear
No,
that.
actually, no.
Yeah, but I didn't
Do
hear
we
that.
know? Oh, I thought it was way lower than that. Okay.
What do we say this does for tax rate with this, that this,
Stays at 67 cents.
This here is 67 with no COLA,
okay,
No COLA.
no COLA.
Okay.
no COLA. All right,
I think there's a general, at least three is where, as far as the discussion that's been kind of going around, I know Brian's he would go for all five.
Yeah.
Respect that. I think Dave is on the lower end at three, right?
I will accept three if everybody wants it. I really prefer two, to be honest with you, but I'll go three. In a tight year, I think the message with schools and all.
Yeah, and I think that 3% is, kind of like the going rate as far as the mark in the area, so I would be okay with three as well.
I ran some numbers, I made some adjustments. I can do 3% or a 1 cent tax credit.
All right, but there's pieces you've lost over here a little bit. I want to talk in some details in here
Yeah,
at some
yeah,
point.
right now, we're just talking COLA right now.
I know. Well, right this second, so we went through a whole bunch
Yeah,
of
we got a
things.
bunch
so
of.
we're, COLA and any kind of increase to the 67 is dependent on what else has happened within this.
Right, that's my point. So right now, if we took this right as it is, it'd be a 1% tax increase.
As it shows right there, there's no COLA and it's 67 cents.
I know, and I'm saying with a 3% COLA, it would be 1%.
Yes.
So it'd be
1 cent.
68 with, yeah.
For example, to the specifics, the new position for the Board of Elections, the election specialist, that is in the budget. And in the two,
In this?
yes,
Okay. All right.
It must be asked to stay in.
and the two part-time jobs which somewhat offset that have been also eliminated.
Yes.
The position in the finance office for procurement, that has been taken off the budget, so there's nothing there. The community center part-time position has been eliminated. So
Okay.
there's nothing there. There is still a part-time position that we discussed with Willie Smith at DSS to give them some backup for the lady, her name's Gracie. I understand she's been with the department 32 years. She's
Yeah.
looking to retire. And they are trying to build in some overlap and extra capacity so that when, even if she's just gone on vacation, they don't have to take an income maintenance worker and put that staff member up at the office at the front county. And with a position like that, the state is going to pick up half the cost if it's approved for funding.
So the only ones in here are that part-time position, the sheriff's position that we created last year, and
Yes.
then the Board of Elections position with eliminating the two part-time. Okay, so question on the Board of Elections, position, because I did have a question from that. There's gonna be a hiring process and a time crunch on, advertising, hiring, whatever, for that position. Can the part-time, the way that budget is there, will those part-time positions be able to remain in effect until the day the full-time person takes office? Like, that a July 1, the part-time would be out, and then she'd have to advertise and work by herself for that period of time, or can part-time work until,
The conversation I've had with her is that the positions will end June 30, but she will have the ability to hire poll workers that she uses.
To fill
ones that have
until she gets-
more skills.
so she needs to go ahead and talk to her staff and say July 30,
Yeah,
or July 1.
yeah.
You're- Okay. I just want to make sure that, because I've had a question about that I'm
And she
articulating.
understands that depending on the training or
Okay.
work, she will be able to use some of her poll workers and,
So the poll workers will fill the gap for now. Okay,
but she'll have two full-time equivalents
okay,
in her office.
okay. Perfect. All right, there's some major. Do we have any budget concerns, like as
Well,
far
I
as,
think we'll talk about the position thing, because I understand the comment about social services, but I'm sorry, we're hiring a permanent position for a temporary problem, and I hear all the argument about filling in, we have to do that, and every office ever has to fill in, we only have so much staff to fill in, I'm sorry, I don't concur with hiring even a part-time position for a temporary problem. A temporary problem comes when a person goes on vacation, so we're talking about 1 week where they have to flex. Or if the person leaves, then they have to hire a replacement. And I don't believe in creating a full-time position.
No, it's not all the time, it's a part-time.
Okay,
position.
even.
but he's
so
like a permanent part-time, yeah.
We talking about the Board of Elections or we
No,
talking?
We're talking
social
social
services.
services. Because they're saying they just need it for coverage when she's out essentially, or to prepare that person for when she leaves. But then you still have a position when she leaves, that person moves in, then we have a part-time
And then
position
the
that we're still
position she
trying to.
vacated is open now, they hired that again.
The board put a limit on
I have a question.
that. Okay.
Earlier on, we kind of talked about tracking, making overtime available and kind of tracking that.
Right.
Are they working any overtime now? And
No, this is not workload related. It's really
Yeah,
front counter related. So there's somebody there to greet the public when they come in because they're a lockdown office.
yeah,
And when someone needs to see a social worker or the director, they have to go through that person. So this is to give some added coverage when she's away from that station and not have to take a person from one of the programs who then is not able to bill their hours to the funding agency for income maintenance or whichever area they serve.
the way that we handle that with, even within our office, because our office is locked down, right? You can't get in without a fob or somebody has to let you in, right? And so, somebody comes up, hits the bell and whoever is available at the time gets up, walks out there and says, hey, how you doing?
Exactly, way, yeah.
And so I don't know if I can go with that.
Well, I can't speak for Willie anymore. I think their concern is that this is really a public information type person, because you never know what situation someone is presenting when they arrive at the counter. And this person can either help maybe initially refer them somewhere or, help them.
I
Just
mean,
they
to
see this
me-
as a real.
I see what they're saying, that's kind of like Renee's out these 3 days, we're not hiring somebody to fill in for when Renee's out, somebody will flex and cover what she needs while she's out for a few days here and there.
Excuse me, go
No,
ahead.
you can.
No, excuse me, I cut across you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, so, I mean, even like an hour for lunch, somebody can flex for that hour for lunch if it's prepared for, when we're talking about a tight budget year, that's my whole thing, but what was your question?
I have a question at the
Our
statement.
statement,
The dynamics of that office is quite different from the courthouse, or any other dynamics in the other department. Because you have short staff, you have a great workload that has to be, attended to. And for someone to come out and to do the things that's required for that reception, to do to direct them or to help them, coming in for assistance, gonna be challenging. When you're dealing with social service, entirely different atmosphere. I know I'm on the board, I see them at work. They just can't pull it from their case or whatever they're dealing with to attend to reception duties. So you must take that into consideration. It's a different work environment.
I guess my mind was going to, if it's vacation, they know it's coming to plan for, I think was where my head was at, like, not necessarily calling them out, if you flex time and you plan, like, okay, they're out this week, then you're gonna cover from this time to this time, you're gonna cover from this, they know not to put caseloads on at that point, which I think is what they've done for the past 30 years with her.
Very too. Well, yeah, when we had our work session and discussion back in April, I did not perceive any, I'll say pushback for lack of a better term amongst our discussion. That's why it's in there. I'm not gonna fall on the sword for this position.
But if you don't ask, you don't get it.
I do recall though making the comment again, I'm looking for justification based upon overtime or something else. Each of the times somebody's talked about position, I've said that we need to have something more than anecdotal. And this falls in anecdotal and I want to stress again, for me, the problem is a permanent position for a temporary problem. You can, in federal government, we hire bodies because this situation came up. And if we eliminate programs or other things, we never get rid of the bodies created. And so the bureaucracy builds and the temporary, I would be all for them hiring, giving them authorization to do a 90-day temp service.
When they know she's going out, when she gives her resignation saying, I'm going out, a retirement's happening here, to hire somebody on then to
Right.
cover so that she can train side by side with them.
But since that meeting, she has let them know that she's looking at retiring and her retirement is gonna be May of next year. So I think what they were trying to do, along with trying not to bring other staff from other areas of the building, is to do some successive planning, which is what I mentioned
Yeah.
that day, and bring part-time in. So if you did say you can have this part-time position only for this year for that position to move into the full-time.
I would say.
Then you
January
wouldn't create this permanent part-time
So
position.
January 1, they could have some, if she's going out May of next year, January 1, they hire somebody to finish out the last few months of the year with her. That gives her time. If she has leave, she has to take too.
But still, you're gonna have to budget that. That's what you're gonna need to say. We need to
It's
budget
3
that.
months, it's 3 months then.
That would be, well, from
4 months.
January to May 1st, so 4 months, 4 or 5 months. Which would give us half of whatever that is
But that's-
essentially.
Or 6 months, give them 6 months. I don't know what she does.
6 months even is fine. Month,
6
month or
months,
two
I
after you
mean-
leave, because a lot of times you leave, people still call you and ask you questions.
Right.
6 months is fine with me, but again, my point is I don't want to make a permanent position for a temporary.
So a 6-month temporary position for the purpose of training to fill that position.
Right.
I don't know how this should be worded. Does that make sense?
That's what
Start
you want that person to have
January 1.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's the gym, you want that person to have time to train and to
Budget
be
for 6
well
months.
aware of the operations up front,
Yeah.
so that
Yes.
the transition can be good.
Right.
So when that hiring occurs, do you manage that? Or, well, I guess I should ask Mr. Perry, do you manage the hiring for social service?
Well,
We
I
manage,
post the position, they actually do the interview.
Right.
yeah, we manage
So
the
then-
process, but they are the appointing authority.
What I'm driving at is, so there's a safeguard so that you hire that position, which I'm sure will happen fine. And then the person vacates, what stops them from walking and saying, hey, I have this vacancy, now let me hire this. That same vacancy.
We would have that position flagged.
So the 6 month position we know is gonna end, so the person's hired, you think you go get 6 months, you can apply for the permanent position because you will have worked here 6 months, it'll give them a leg up, right? But then they have to apply for that permanent position when she vacates it, and allow them 2 months, gives them time really to do that transition, is that the concept?
Yeah, it comes through a hiring request.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of hiring requests.
Okay. I mean, are we all on the same page with that, like the 6-month position?
I'm good there.
Are we,
Yeah.
I mean, 6 months seems like a generous time to plan, like, if you don't get it in 6 months, I don't think you're gonna get it.
Well, I guess you-
It's not that y'all gonna get a month.
Right.
Are you saying that that's gonna be their probationary period?
No, it's
Because
just,
what if in 6 months they're not doing well?
well, and that's the point, when they hire, if you get a hired front position, and they apply and they don't select them, they're gone, they did their 6 months and they're.
And they're.
That, and also, you know, if this person that is in this position at this point in time is planning on retiring in May, that is their retirement. They can come back in May and say, well, I might go to gym, and I might, because I've had 2 employees do that to me recently, and instead of May, they came back and, oh.
No, that's exactly my concern.
Yeah.
Also,
I think the other position, if you put it for 6 months and the person works 6 months, can't do the job, I'm sorry, we don't have a job anymore, you go.
Right.
Yeah, that's the benefit of
Yeah.
being a temporary job.
But if the person, then the full-time person, if they back out and say, hey, I'm not gonna retire, and stay and say, okay, fine, the temporary person still leave it, if you were relying on them to help make your job easier, they're gone anyway.
They're still going.
That's
Yeah.
why you get a written resignation.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Do we have a written resignation saying that then we must,
So
before
this
we
will be
can.
contingent on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
this position will be contingent on that person giving their.
So they turn in their
Retirement time.
retirement paperwork in January, that's the question. We're making all kinds of pains for you.
Oh, no, you really are. Listen, this gonna, I'm gonna go to this lady and say, I need you to write me a letter that you can retire next week.
I had to do that with two employees.
Yeah,
Say, we're trying to
One of them
plan-
come back and said, I'm not doing it. I said, "Well, your
I
last
mean, we are trying to put a, we are trying to put a succession plan in to
For the
make
federal
it
government.
easier in the
For the
transition
federal government,
process.
when you turn your
Yeah.
retirement paperwork in, you have 30 days to retract it. If you don't, at that point, now, if you're a great worker and you change your mind in life and say, oh yeah, we'll gladly reel it back. But if you're not so good a worker, or their big plans already to replace you, they can say, sorry,
But regardless, this is a 6-month temporary position,
right,
so,
okay.
all right,
We beat that dead horse.
yes, we're good there. Terminology, we will leave to you all.
Okay.
All right, next, anybody?
Utilities, water, sewer.
Oh, hold on, let's go for-
Big stuff.
are we through all of the,
I don't think,
Or no, if we're not there, go ahead.
yeah, I don't know that we're
I'm sorry.
right there yet.
so some of the things I want to talk about that I've gotten phone calls about was are planning on buying equipment, like the snow blower, for instance, okay? I don't have that list in front of me. I would have brought it, but I thought that would be handy for it. Snow blower. We talked about fire department equipment. And so I had 2 calls specifically from people saying, hey, if they're requesting a ladder truck, all the fire chiefs in the county a couple years ago said, we don't need a ladder truck. It's a big maintenance thing. There's a lot of maintenance costs with this. You should not support buying extensive, you know, for the one fire we had, this 1 in 20 years where they needed an extension thing, you know, that's not justifying buying a ladder truck, et cetera, et cetera. They then brought up things like the snow blower, which again, for me, the snow blower, this is not aerial, we use snow blower, I'm sorry. And we have a bad snow, it's bad,
And
but
that's
too
fine.
bad, so sad.
Yeah, and the ladder truck's not in this budget. It's
No, I noticed.
just a-
There was a couple other items in there though, that's the problem, I don't have it sitting in front of me.
Well, I think the item you're mentioning is
Skid.
the gauge for measuring the hydrant.
That was the separate.
And we talked about putting that in public utilities, but we've been hitting them pretty hard and I came to the conclusion it'd be better to put it, if we're trying to help the fire departments, it'd be easier for Mr. Tutwiler to manage.
Yeah,
Getting them to the
I guess,
If you think that's a valid piece of equipment for them to,
I mean, I'm sorry, I got 6 meters and not a one of mine is a $10,000 tool, a hydrant meters and things we use with our fire department, we actually lease out to contractors. I don't have a $10,000 meter. I don't have a $5,000 meter. That is a temporary for a hydrant. And I'm
Well, this isn't like a meter. This is, it reads the velocity and pressure.
it does a full pressure value to hydrant, right?
I don't know how much one of those costs somehow.
Well, you can get a Cadillac for $10,000. The question really is that level of accuracy you get with that. Do we need that level of accuracy? Because most of our lines don't handle fire flows anyway, right?
well, it's just, they want to make sure they have their ISO rating scored as strong as they can each year.
I know that
I would contend with.
the Hallsville district lost their fire rating because of the fire flows and some of the hydrants that they did have before, but because it wasn't checked, they went to it and lost it because when they went, had the state come in to measure and verify that. So they had a couple fire.
My point being is that for doing this type of work, buying a tool that you use at most intermittently with cooperative agreements with neighboring counties, other people have them, temporary use, buying a permanent expensive tool for an extremely limited use, to me is not justified for a small county and a small budget. I truly believe we make the effort. You go to
All right,
Eden or somewhere else, there's other options
So-
where I'm buying a $10,000 meter that we're used 3 times, maybe in a year.
could we task them with getting the price of it one purchase and the price of an agreement to at least one for a year? And you come back to us maybe in October when you have that last round of sales tax information come in.
In town of Hertford, I share the Eden equipment all the time. Elizabeth City, I go to them.
I actually don't disagree. It's just, let's
Give them,
tell them to get a quote.
get quotes,
and
have
we'll
you
have that
vigilance
stuff.
fees.
We're engaged in neighboring communities to see if they
That's
have
what-
one. We reasonably
That's
can.
what I need.
Most time we don't charge each other, just be limited to them. As long as you don't damage it, you damage it, you pay to repair it. That's what we did. That's what we do today. I mean, so I hate to see us buy a $10,000 piece of equipment when somebody might lend it to us for a week of use, which I doubt we'd use for a whole week unless we're trying to evaluate every single hydrant, in which case it might be a month. But the other thing too is like the fire department, I guess the forestry service is talking about us funding a skid. I'm trying to remember the correct terminology, the piece of equipment.
It happened. Mhm.
Yeah, for the justification was how much they needed it at the recent fire at, the custom millings place.
Was that skid steer?
Skid steer, I think, and they were saying, oh, we really need to have one of these, we get a used one for $25,000-$30,000. And again, one of our local fire chiefs told me, he says, hey, this is a 1 in 20-year fire that we fought, and buying a piece of equipment that we're gonna maintain and keep around for potential, we may not use it in 20 years. Do we really want to go out and spend money for doing these things and buying a piece of equipment? So everybody's got the latest toy
I'm gonna test that theory. When was the last fire there? Was it 20+ years ago?
with that level of
You
fire.
remember?
No, it was probably,
Because the last one like that was there, so.
it was between 15 and 20,
Yeah.
between
Okay.
15 and
That's
20.
Not quite.
It was not quite that bad, though. It
It
wasn't
was,
that
yeah.
bad.
That's what they, actually, that's.
It wasn't that bad.
We had a long time.
Yeah.
The last serious fire we had, like, about 20 years ago.
No, yeah.
I'm going off a slight tangent here.
Yeah.
What What's Gates Custom Mill doing now?
They're working.
They're repairing to work, yeah.
Is that what
They're
they're?
actually working. I drove
They're,
by
I mean,
there.
they're
Their
working.
trucks going in now. There's people there.
In operation.
There's
They're
lumber.
Why are they buying a lumber yard from J.W. James?
No,
It's an expansion.
I don't know.
And they're using the fire reimbursement for.
I mean, I'm
I don't know. I don't want this, dude, I don't want to reproach his
Well,
people's
they're not-
reputation. And obviously, I lost a job.
My point is that, number one, I was concerned, I was like, well, did they damage it enough where they can't use it anymore? And
They're
they're,
using it now.
and
It
they're
was,
doing something
it
different.
was the mulch piles that burned, right?
Yeah.
Part of it was another building or two.
Yeah, they got to the back of another building, that's what I'm wondering, and then also, if they're gonna do an expansion, why aren't they doing it here in Gates County?
Skid steer.
And maybe some discussion.
It's new information.
Yeah.
I'm spreading you some information along the way, if you know.
Well, and so is the audience now.
Exactly. And honestly, I think it's a fair question. That's a good question, actually. But my point is back to
I think
the stuff we're buying.
Just I don't know more, I'll have a discussion with Lisa about that side of things, but,
Very popular as a lumber business.
I understand that they might be looking into buying a.
So your concern is, are they getting ready to even leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Mine's simply about the fire department, other requests that the Forest Service wanted to buy equipment based upon a one-time incident.
Yeah.
And I don't want to support those purchases.
Is that it, is that in here?
Yes, the skid steer.
Skid steer was quoted at 40 and the fire hydrant flow testing was a 10.
I mean, I'm
I
okay
would-
with crossing off anything that isn't essential at this point, like, again, I really feel strong in we held the school system.
If we strike off the skid steer, I would support the hydrant thing, because I'd rather we have our water department have the latest thing than buy $40,000 on piece of equipment for forestry service or others, potentially more we sort of use and share with other counties.
Alright, so where's that at in here?
See my logic?
100% agree.
Blue page, it was one blue page, I think.
Oh, I didn't, show it was on this little,
Mine's at my car. We take a break, I'll go get mine. I apologize. Yeah, I'm marked mine. Actually, I'm gonna run the car. I got mine in the car. I just didn't bring it in. I'm sorry, pretty easier.
thank you.
It's the blue sheet.
I was looking at the name and I was like,
Oh, yeah, I forgot he had a new sheet in there.
Yeah, he went through the whole thing about what the whole sheet.
alright,
I was a
so,
good student, I listened.
And another thing the board could do could be just to freeze the capital outlay procurement until we can make reports to the board on individual items and bring back much more detailed quotes and information.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with funding for the state through Gates County. I have a hard time buying a $40,000 skid steer for the forestry department when they get money from the state and they should buy their equipment from the state money.
yeah. So do we have? Alright, so that upgrade for entrance security that's for the key fobs and stuff for all the doors? Is that
That's for the front entrance to the old courthouse.
Just for, because we talked about the door and,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, that's,
do we have that in
no,
here?
turned out to be a much bigger number. I'm
Did
gonna
it?
have to defer to that.
Okay,
Well, there's two ways to skin the cat. One is real heavy on the front end with low monthly costs. The other one's a little cheaper on the front end with higher monthly costs.
okay,
But
okay. So this
we
is,
could be prepared to talk about that in detail as soon as you want.
okay,
How much do you?
how much is this?
Scott, do you remember those numbers
Christina,
on the
security.
fobs? I haven't even opened that last thing that you sent.
Is this like $100,000 thing or $200,000 thing?
Nearly 200.
Okay, all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and just put it in the.
On the front end or how's
No,
it?
well, there was two options.
Okay, yeah, and I can't,
Yeah, but it's the same price.
I mean, that should just come out of our fund balance.
Yeah, there was,
Will you come back for the security stuff?
no, that's for the key fobs to fob on the door. The security stuff is for the front entrance of
So which one are you saying you're agreeing to come out of budget?
the key fobbing, the fobs into all the doors on the
I agree with that. I
offices.
think
That's
that's-
200,000 up front is what it sounds like, but he's gonna look at the numbers and verify for us.
I'm just looking for an ish number.
An inch, but I think that's important just for security for all of our staff.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Um,
But it's pulled out of fund balance.
Like, yeah, I think.
What's in how much?
It's one, whatever.
Where were we at on the DSS generator with them not having? Are they,
That's in this budget for DF.
right, but I can't remember the reason, because we said they don't have any cold beans stored. They don't have anybody housed there. It's not a shelter for emergencies, right?
Right.
There were questions. I just remember questions
Right,
about it.
they're.
We're going different places. I'm sorry.
They're one of the agencies that has situations where they've got to be there around the clock. And having back, we're moving to get as many of our buildings on generator as we can. We just did the old courthouse in the last year.
But working around the clock, I mean, that generator is not so you can work around the clock. Generators in case there's an emergency,
Exactly.
power goes out. And in an emergency where power goes out, will they still have to be there like massive snowfall or?
You can't say there are times after hours and they have youth that are having to be removed from homes and that kind of stuff where they have to be there regardless of the situation. I was doing dispatch one night and I had a kid call me from the middle of the road and it was raining and pouring. They had to go retract him and his siblings from a home for safety. And there were power outages during the county, that kind of stuff. So I can't say, I do know that there are times, I only know of that one time in the past 7 years, but there are times where there's a situation where you have children that you have to house. However, they were housed up here at the courthouse because we had a
We're just gonna
generator.
be able to operate when the power goes out. We get
Yeah.
intermittent power outages here.
How frequently, really? I mean, that's a hard question.
Yeah, the thing is, it's the unknown, so you need to prepare for the unknown, because you never know when you're going.
Well, there's $125,000 for the unknown for one building for the case of one kid that happens to be after hours. I mean, we're now starting to spend a lot of insurance, that's insurance money.
My question is,
Also,
yes.
for safety, you want to make sure that the students are safe,
Which one?
no matter who they are.
Well, but,
At any time.
well, but
Make sure that.
But having power in that building, no matter what, it's not the same thing as some people, you say, like I
So the
said,
power goes out for 4 hours. We usually have to send people home
okay?
during the workday. And we'd rather keep them working.
But it does give you fuel.
I just think it's a prudent practice in the public sector.
With access to every sort of cloud.
Usually on the bill,
Yes,
you know.
Really?
We have our Uber house and our main administration
Stuff
building,
like
is,
that.
my office and everything, is office spaces are not a critical asset. You have engineering offices, our road office, planning office, are not the sheriff's office, the main admin building, and our emergency services, and emergency power. But we don't emergency power run to everything, just in case maybe sort of administrative office need to be there, we just don't. And there's a few times where we've had like snowfall, and this power went out, so you go and work out of the admin offices.
Okay.
And that's.
Two different counties, two different programs. I think our board should, like, our city place homes, and make sure that our employees can, when they do this, especially in this emergency situation or situation that, you know, we need the power.
I guess in my brain, and this is where I'm at with it, is 125,000 is a penny almost, not far off.
Yeah, but it's not coming out of the.
I know, but I'm just still, like that's just kind of goes, and then I'm thinking, you know, we're looking at, I don't know, like my brain is working differently, I guess, but
You can always go forward, and when we have our new director, have that individual come in and give their
Is
assistance.
there's, I would go with that. I mean, I just don't see right now, and hear me out. I know everybody thinks I'm just Mr. Penny Pincher Rubber, but again, it's a case of where the service they do traditionally is 9 to 5. Occasionally we have power outages, okay? And when that happens, you know, it happens. In the event, in the evening, something happens, well, there's sheriff's officers, lots of other offices here that are totally functional. That if we had an emergency situation, dealing with a kid, getting a kid clearly out of a violent home or situation, life-threatening situation, absolutely is gonna be taken care of. And I know our sheriff, he would absolutely make that happen. Our rescue people would do that. There's no doubt that would happen. Having emergency power in that administrative building after hours or in a heavy snowfall or something, to me is not a critical, I don't see a critical path where that's necessary to spend 125,000 instantly. However, like you said, if a new director comes in and says, here's the situations where it happens, I would be open, I think, to discussing at that point. Right now, 125,000 for an purely administrative building seems like an extra to me.
I disagree, because amenities are, instructions are built for the purposes. That purpose of social service is built and have the records and everything that they need to access during the time of, you know, situation where they may have a child, an adult, they need the house. If we have sheriff department buildings and this building designated this, and that, let's utilize that building. So we get full optimum operations out of it during times of emergency instead of having this child here, this child there. And we don't know the regulations concerning the state regarding housing these children. So we need to be proactive instead of waiting on the director to give us guidance, but we can use wisdom and know that, hey, this is the place of operations, this is the place where the records are stored. We don't know the regulations concerning the state of housing. We best do our due diligence and make sure that these kids or whoever's in place safe.
Surprise, yes. You're allowed.
No.
And where were you?
Well, let me roll another one
No,
out.
no, that's,
I was in public service for Hurricane Fran, for Hurricane Floyd, for Hurricane Matthew. And when the power's out for several days, one of the things we always tried to plan for was our employees and even their families. You take a police officer, whoever, that's gonna be working long, long shifts. We tried to have arrangements made where if that person had to have their spouse and children stay during a shift in a place that was safe, we were using government buildings for that. I mean, and again, those are 1 in a 5-year, 1 in a 20-year, but when you need it, it's real helpful to be able to plan and have a strategy to protect the people that are out there trying to serve.
Yeah.
So the counterpoint to that is we haven't had one before now. What have we done every time in the past? Where is the crisis? Who has been put in danger every year, every time for the last, in history?
I've had people talk to me about ice storms and what would, again, Boy Scout, being prepared,
I was too, sure.
and I try to plan as safely as I can so that I don't get caught with my pants down. The commissioner and say, well, why didn't we plan for
And
this?
I built a lot of public buildings. I never built one that didn't have one. Never.
I have a question, and we may have put another can of worms. For the sheriff office, do they have a generator?
yes,
Yeah.
You sure?
the building, well,
Oh, no, you got one second there.
the 911,
With the 911 center, since the 911 center's gone, is it still there?
That's busted.
it's, okay, so it's out, so the sheriff's, okay, because they have.
That's sky high more important than this one. Sky high more. We should be spending the money to fix that one.
So,
versus
so
buying a new one.
my question is, did the sheriff request it on the?
No.
That's what I'm gonna say. They have a request.
So once requested, then.
Yeah.
I will say, knowing that the sheriff's office doesn't have one where I thought they did and kids were housed there overnight when I was there, changes my perspective a little bit, knowing that the sheriff's office doesn't have.
I think they're trying to see if they can repair what's there, but it's a new, this is a new part, you know how to stop.
I've been sitting over there when power's gone out and the generator not kicked on with 911, and we have no 911 because the generator didn't work.
That's a real security concern to me, but safety concern, but not an admin office.
Right, and the department heads, knowing that's real safety concern, should address that in their budget. DSS just happens to address it, so we need to, you know.
Alright, say I was a heavy no until knowing that the sheriff's office does not currently have one. And
So that makes this a higher priority.
so that makes it a higher priority for me because I have seen kids have to be housed overnight and they were there because they didn't have one there.
So Brian, yes. Dave, you're.
I'm
I'm absolutely.
struggling. I'm struggling.
There's no right or wrong answer, you know.
It's an opinion.
No, I know, but I'm struggling, like as far as,
All right, well, I'm a yes, it's gonna do it, I believe.
I'll go with-
Government buildings should have a.
All right.
Okay.
we'll go with, I've always said when it's still 3, I typically go with majority. We have 2 majority here. Okay.
All right, so roll with it.
All right, anything else on this list that we're questioning? I guess the animal shelter is our third of that building. Okay.
So what is that 27,000 for? We talked about a roof last year and then we said, well, you don't have a single.
And it's having to replace kennels instead because of the
Well,
overload.
they were gonna rebuild the kennel set in there.
We gave money for that.
Yeah.
We gave money for a roof and.
Oh, contingent on The
All
other.
The other counties,
I don't think they put.
Did we, no, I think the roof,
Yeah, they just, yeah, in the last 2 months, they were,
it was
Put
completed
the
on the
new
other
roof on.
two
Yeah.
agreements.
now I don't think the new kennels have been purchased yet.
So what is this 27,000?
She, yeah,
Off the top of my head, I.
yeah, she didn't come here to make the presentation, so.
yeah, so we're gonna strike that out until somebody comes back
Yeah.
and says.
Yeah, it's a project.
I agree.
If you want to, I can,
I agree.
I can call them, make sure, I don't
I
know.
mean, again,
That's why, we gave her a chance, we gave her a chance.
my logic is that they didn't come in and ask for it,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, she had an opportunity to
Yeah.
come. I was in.
So what did we say about the skid though? The
No.
skid,
We
Okay.
said no to that, but yes to the fire hydrant flow testing equipment.
okay, and the AED stuff,
And the AED, yes, 100%.
And the AED's gonna get more expensive.
Yes.
yeah.
100%. I'm also for the removal of the dilapidated buildings at EOC complex.
Snow blower though was,
No.
Stimulus, no.
Okay.
So we had a no for that, a no for the skid steer, and a no for animal shelter, without further.
Yep.
Yeah, information, everything else we had yes.
Yep.
Okay. Are we all on the same page there? the four of us?
yep.
Okay. Looking around, I love discussions, y'all.
It's, I'm actually glad to see Brian passionate about something, to be honest with you, he's been a little too quiet lately. I feel like he's speaking up, man. I feel like he's.
Oh, no, I'm just waiting.
I appreciate
I
it.
do, like, I'm just really hard on the cutting when we don't have to have things right now.
Can we go back, are we gonna do the door locks? Have you?
Oh, yes, can we go back to the information there on that?
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks.
Two different quotes. One system was 160,611. That was for a localized system where all the controllers are in-house, all the data is in the house. We do the backups. No, hold on, I got it confused. I'm sorry. The lower cost one was actually cloud backed up. Everything's in the cloud and gave you the ability to unlock and lock doors with your phone as you walk through. The local,
That's an upfront cost, right?
yes,
Or is that an annual?
Yeah,
that's an
Okay.
upfront cost,
Okay.
but there's a $25 cost per door per month for that system, which would be about $22,000 a year.
Okay.
Yeah. The other quote was for a localized system.
Mhm.
We do our own backups, which we do anyway. You lose the ability to unlock and lock with your phone, a little bit higher upfront cost at 177,154. But, there's no annual fees.
Is that like a badge swipe system?
So there's
That's
like
what
we
we
use
use.
no,
That's, yeah.
you said no annual
No
fee.
fee.
No annual.
So that's 177 straight.
Yeah.
That's, to me, sounds like a no-brainer.
Which one would you like?
I'm more partial to the 177. We do our backups
Okay.
anyway. The only thing you lose is something we don't.
Make a motion to take that out of capital outlay and move forward with it, like our general fund now and move forward with it.
I would agree with that.
So. I guess we'll take that as a motion in a second.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to disagree just for.
Yeah, go ahead,
Just for
discussion.
fun. I'm teasing, I'm okay with it.
So then all in favor, if no discussion for security,
What amount?
We think, Brian,
the 177 that for the
Count
fees,
around it, don't say me.
Yes.
sure,
in 50 cents.
that's great. Amended to 178,000,
Brian said he was good with it.
and so all in favor, good deal,
And that's one quote. I mean, I still got to get two more quotes.
Yeah.
okay.
Could be
I
better.
feel like this would be the longest
Could be
one.
better. How long ago did you quote? It might have gone up even.
Only a couple of months ago.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I honestly, up to 200 with no annual fee makes it worth it, in my opinion. Good deal. Thanks for reminding us to go back to that, because we sure did skip down the line.
we move fast.
Okay. If y'all have anything to pop up with while we're going through stuff, just bring it up. No, you're fine. Um, All right, so we have general fund, public safety, human services, we have the special revenue. General fund, local sales tax, general revenue.
Okay, yeah, that's one of the things we'll talk about. What about, what's the group like the housing thing I'm on right now? Sent you all emails.
Okay,
about the Gates County housing thing.
okay, that's the special appropriations.
Special appropriation, yeah.
I think, they're a good organization, they do good work, they do good things. There's also, other avenues for people to get money through the Alcohol Association and all that. I think we did a good thing as a county to kind of help get them going, but they're to the point now that I think they get enough money from other places that.
They're self-sustaining.
Yeah, they're self-sustaining, don't need to get any money from Gates County.
That's kind of my point. I think they do some things. And one person I talked on the phone told me, yeah, they helped out with paying for 2 handicap ramps. They said, so they do fund some good things. I'm like, that's great. And I'm like, but they don't require money from us then if they're getting 300,000 from the OC Foundation or something.
Yeah, and if they come back with something where, they got an initiative they're trying to raise for something specific, then I would be inclined to,
Which
listen.
one are we talking about right now? The Gates County Housing? Committee, is
Yeah,
that what you're-
that's what I'm talking about. And I did send y'all, and I spoke about the last meeting, the fact that the Albemarle Commission, they had that, emergency essential family home renovation pot of money, and then they had the one for Gates in Terrell County going on right now. It's a 2-year program. They rotate around it and right now we have 365 or 63,000 that's sitting there that hasn't been tapped in. Only 3 people have asked for anything. And it's sitting there, so there's lots of money available through the Albemarle Regional Group. If we just simply ask it and funnel people to it, and they said, yes, she was gonna try to make sure we market it more and make that available. We should make sure social services office is aware of that. And they told me the agency on, aging said, yeah, we're engaging Willie Smith's crowd. We're constantly talking and making sure they're aware of it. So there's avenues for us to get lots of potentially money for housing repairs and stuff. And so, again, I don't want to take anything away from what that group has done, but we're now the only county that has an independent group doing that out of the Albemarle Commission's 10 counties. Anyway,
Is that a limit of 10,000 or something per applicant?
for the emergency weatherization, it's 15,000 per house. That's the big pot of 2.9 million they've got. The 365, they say depending upon the assessment done, they can get up to $50,000 in repairs. And that's the 365,000. I think they've only spent, we had 3 people apply, and I think they only spent like 47,000 on those 3 houses based on what they looked at need to be done. And one lady in the county who posted a lot on Facebook, I said in the last meeting, she agreed to let her picture be up, and they described what they had done for, that was part of our public meeting that we had, and they described what she was a Gates County resident.
Decision on the Gates County housing.
We're talking, yeah.
So, like,
Right here on 0, unless somebody has filled otherwise.
I'm looking back. I'm trying to find it on the thing here, what number it's at.
8,300, 605.
605. Oh, down here, okay. Oh,
Oh, my other item was, okay, the other item I had in my phone that I really want to talk about, the community center and staffing. I know we talked about it. I had one part-time job. I'm actually for cutting them by billet. I've seen a decline, and y'all know I've been hot and heavy. I'm probably sure I'm a blistered name to be talked about over there, but the reality is I see a decline in the amount of stuff we offer through the community center. And quite frankly, incident the other day where the sheriff had to be called out because one of our employees for the county was doing some school stuff, dealing with a parent, is what I understand, and got heated with the husband coming in, and there was a argument in the community center over high school coaching issues, and the sheriff had to come to break it up. And I'm sorry, I just don't believe, I personally don't believe we should have people that are employed by the community center and the school center at the same time. That bothers me completely. Don't think that should happen. And the fact that this happened at community center says we have a problem, and I feel strongly we should actually reduce our staff by one billet and see if there's a change, because right now our public little leagues and stuff have totally taken decline. And I've had that made comment to me by a lot of people, where you said registration issues, et cetera.
I'm gonna go a different route and say, I don't think that there needs to be one cut, but I feel like hours need to be flexed so that we can be open 8 to 8, Monday through Friday, and open some on Saturday, not closed all weekend. I think that reorganizing the schedule, I'm a schedule person, reorganizing the schedule, shifting hours, that kind of stuff, and kind of rotating shift if necessary, whatever, could expand the hours with the people that we have rather than cutting a billet. I think that I would like to see just the reorganization of shifts and have more hours available to the public.
How many people currently work over there?
I think it's 4
Yeah.
full-time and 2 part-time.
Yeah, 2 work, we cover 1 part-time position, so we have 2 part-timers that work 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
So we essentially have 1 part-time and 4 full-time.
Like, I don't know how hours are currently staggered, but I do think with schedules I've played around with, that it could be staggered to allow more hours open on Friday and Saturday.
And I agree, I'll agree with the reorganization.
And so you got Norris, that's the head, the director of it, right? And then what are the other positions?
Yeah, so,
Not really the people, but the positions.
yeah, so you have,
Connie's like an administrator.
Director.
Administrator. Jawan, who's,
All right, we gotta do no names. We have to do position, I
Yeah.
think, because we're, yeah.
yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Recreation director. Let me see exactly how it is.
It's in on the spreadsheet.
Yes,
Is it on there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that.
I'll get to it.
Okay, so we have the director. Fitness facilities person, a recreation director, and the administrative assistant, the part-time supervisor.
Okay.
Didn't the sheriff's department get in trouble years ago for,
It was still living, it was for working, they said games, while also clocked in for the sheriff's office and getting paid twice for the same time, is how it was reported.
So
Not really separately.
essentially the same thing could be.
And that's another project we're gonna have actually in conversation with the sheriff. Back to the committees, and I'd like to see us give a timeline for.
A corrective action
to-
plan.
To jump into a couple of things. He has spent more time there than,
it's been a long time.
and he has really worked hard to improve our relationships with the high school administration, and the sharing of equipment and the sharing of maintaining the fields. I think this is now the second year that we've helped with seeding, fertilizing and, stuff, using some of our unexpended money from the recreation component to help support the fields that we play on.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to what about if we have employees that work for the county, if we pay by the county, the work of this, how we 40-hour weeks and stuff. And we also have employees that are being employed by the school system and getting paid for whatever they're doing there. Volunteer positions, I'm all about. Hey, if they want to volunteer time and go over there and do that, I'm all about that. But I'm trying in my mind, kind of, okay, what's the difference between what was going on years ago?
So.
What's going on this now?
If we worked for the county and we were taking outside employment from the county, we had to submit a request for approval to take on another position. Isn't that correct, Chris? I was trying to look at her. It was years ago. I'm trying to look at her.
the issue that maybe referring to is the one we might have had some folks go to jail where they were double billing
Yeah,
and getting paid by both organizations for the same time frame when there was overlap for security at school functions and such.
But we had put in place where it had to be like written approval, I believe, to get a position outside of your county position.
Yes.
Okay,
It is.
and that's still in effect on that.
Yeah.
It is. And then,
When the sheriff and I have talked very recently with the fact
So
that
did that happen?
his folks are concerned about the way they get paid when they work security. The school system's been paying them on a part-time 1099 basis, not taking out any taxes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the tax year, when they file their taxes,
They're like,
Hurts them, yeah.
they basically owe more than what they earned for their
Yeah.
part-time
Yeah.
arrangement. And they're wondering if there could be some arrangement that the county would support that might involve overtime. It's just,
I am very pro paying out overtime where it's due. Very pro over the comp timing, and I think we beat that a little bit down when we had the personnel talk.
I think the sheriff would like us to try to work on a solution between now and the beginning of football season.
Pay the county for the services and everything, and that way they just get paid through the county for everything.
Well, I'm pretty sure the reason why the schools stopped paying them a paycheck was to save money on retirement and the taxes.
Okay.
And that's when they went to straight pay 1099. We're not paying any of your taxes or.
So could we possibly work out some kind of a contract thing where we send them a bill for the time each month?
Well, if we pay them, then the schools and bill the schools, they're gonna go back to paying retirement and the taxes. Because
Right.
we can't pay them straight out.
right, why should they get out of it?
And we pay the retirement that's now gonna go up on LEO 17.10%, which I still think is cheaper than what the school system pays. But and that may make a difference, but they're not budgeting for it, so it's not, we're not budgeting for it.
Gotcha.
So it's still gonna go at a higher cost to them than what they are trying to work out. And I just feel pretty sure that's why they made the change.
Yeah.
Was to try to lower the cost of
Well, I
that.
guess that comes down to if the sheriff office is gonna retract his services if his guys aren't getting.
Yeah, I think what the sheriff is saying, rather than do that, what he's really saying is, can we do just what you're talking about, is just bill them for it, and they have to pay the retirement and taxes, the school does.
But they, right now, they don't have the money, so how are we gonna get the money?
That's no magnet system, the money should be passed in.
All right.
You're right.
Well, we agree we need to get another roundtable discussion on.
I
what
think
we
so.
have to share.
Yeah.
And have some representation.
And some representation.
from The high school or
Yeah.
the school administration, because
Sounds good.
I think there's some interest to
All
do
right.
something to what needs to be done. We're going to need some,
Okay,
Hold on.
some kind of stuff that's kind of done.
Well, let's look at getting that meeting set up at some point, but we also, I don't want us to forget anything. We were hitting on special appropriations. We're also hitting on community center, so we don't need to.
yeah, like I said, I was not gonna let it go that we did not finish the discussion on.
Well,
the
and just to help on your discussion,
Yeah.
Gotta
you know, they do clock in and out on a facial time clock. And looking at the two that I know, the Clarksville school system, which I've heard your objection that you don't like that period,
Right.
but they do clock out around 3 or 4, depending on what,
The problem
What
is,
sport
I
is
understand
going-
what you're saying, and.
and then they come back to the community center around 6 or 6:30 and work until closing.
My problem is the incident that happened the other day. Did they clock out when somebody walks in and says, hey, I need to turn in track gear and et cetera, and this argument ensues, and ends up being a 30-minute argument, and the sheriff has to respond? Did they clock out for every time somebody walks in, turn in something? They should be conducting that business at the community center, is my opinion. And as long as that starts to be cloudy, it gets massaged, and even if the perception is wrong, there's still going to be the perception that, hey, they're double dipping, they're doing their school job and the community center at the same time. And I think that's what Nathan was bringing up, and the perception that was given to me. And honestly, when I asked the sheriff, I said, yeah, we need to go out there, because I was like, well, somebody was telling me this that was out there. There was a heated argument, they were arguing about school track and all right there in the community center, and it was heated, and the sheriff had to be called, and husbands were coming in threatening to kick so-and-so's butt, and, you know, and I'm like, yeah, see, that's not a separation of the two employments, it's just not. And so even if they clock you out at 3 and go to, if any other business conducted in the middle of the day, are they clocking out to accept the uniforms and turn in of equipment for the school? Or if they get called over to have a discussion at the school real quickly, 30-minute discussion about a team, or they're gonna have to change the location of game or something? Are they clocking out for every one of those? And I'd almost say, guarantee you, probably not. And that's the problem with having joint employment, especially when there's so close proximity. It's just asking for abuse in my opinion. I don't like it, don't think it's a
I'm
good
not
thing.
open than other opinions.
Yeah, I don't like it as well. I agree with, Dave on that. I still think that something needs to be done as far as, the personnel over there as far as, the budget goes and do we need to reduce it by one? Or does Warren have a plan as far as what to do out there to make it better?
Well, I said before, I support a reorganization
Yeah.
and maybe changing times and schedules.
Yeah.
I'll connect with that.
What would you like to do? Sure. No, I'm talking about as far as Warren goes.
Yeah.
But also you, yeah, your opinion also,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with Warren. Reorganization, I think is gonna be vital because in talking to the staff, in general, to a sad workload and they really juggling and wearing different hats and there's been complaints about, I'm here all the time and blah, 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 and we short. So cutting may be a demise to the whole operation, but reorganization, maybe we can maximize,
I will say my one concern as far as the double employment part goes is I feel like the operation at the center is heaviest from 3 to 7. And if that's the time period that we have people clocking out to leave, then we don't have the coverage we need from 3 to 7 when the
Right.
community is most there. Because it's least used 8 to 3, typically like when kids are in school. School lets out at 3 o'clock, that's when people are coming in. That would be my concern, is that are we being the most efficient in our scheduling? If that busy time is having to be covered by one part-time person, which is what I often see there.
How are we serving the public?
We
Right?
have to serve the public, right?
And, being when they're there during, when most of the public is at work. And then when the public's off, you're not available, then that's really not serving the public. So we gotta,
And I get they have
I-
things
I
during
would-
8 to 3.
I
but
would
it's just-
support that this year that, is follow Warren's lead with this. And if you got thoughts that you want to do as far as, reorganizing that and moving forward with it to provide a better service for the county, then let's do it. But we got a year to figure it out.
With an evaluation in December,
This-
mid-year,
Yeah.
That's
And-
fair enough.
would that be fair? Like move it forward as is with the positions that are in place, do some restructuring and revisit with a conversation and an update in December, partway through the year with how to move forward. Does that seem fair?
And if changes are necessary, we'll plan for.
Then we can plan in December to change and work forward to the budget. That gives us a plan of action.
Yeah, I'm not concurring, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm too adamant. We've had a loss in services rendered there. We have a conflict of responsibilities between two organizations that we're allowing to continue and just saying, oh, we'll deal with it in the next year to me is not.
No, I'm
I'm not
I'm
talking about
agree,
that.
yeah, we're not talking about that. We agree with you as far as, the concerns of that, right? There's concerns, there's out there. That department reports ultimately up to Warren, but that's why I kind of want to, I kind of understand how.
Well, that's kind of like something we did recently.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I kind of wanted to understand how everything
Yeah,
flows.
yeah, ultimately, when it comes down to it, I'll be held responsible that he's working as my.
Yeah, and the liaison. Right.
But at the end of the day, he's the man and he's the one that oversees
Yeah.
the.
Well, Mr. Sauer knows, I mean, I promote change.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess I would use the word, there needs to be a firewall in place because I see and have had people, teachers and all that have had kids that were signing up for little leagues and all, suddenly last second said, hey, they just canceled the league, didn't tell us anything. Never, that's everywhere. I had several people bring that to me. And after the fact, of course, they're scrambling to try and make it sound like they did good. To me, it's a massive degradation in services that occurred. There needs to be a firewall in place between the services they do for the school and us. I don't believe they should at any time be able to check out and go do something and come back in the same day. And I don't think waiting a year for it. I think we need to have something happen right away, or we simply cut a billet. and let the person, one of them decide, hey, you're gonna take a job at the school, or you're gonna come here and do your job full time. I'm adamant about it because I've heard people complain to me that, oh yeah, they only want to do certain sports that they like, the people working there, and if it's not a sport they like, they don't give a crap and they put it off and don't communicate. We give our money, we think our kids are gonna play, and by the time we hear their league's canceled, it's too late to sign our kids up in another league in another county. That's what I heard. I heard that from 3 or 4 people. And at the high school ball game out here, I had a couple of them come up, and sit down with me during the ball game. I was trying to watch the high school team when they won, right? And had people bend in my ear. Hey, Mr. Dave, you know, you remember me? Yeah, WR. And brag about the fact that, you know, get a check in the mail, no call, no nothing for several weeks. And they said, now it's too late. I could take my kids to play in our house, you know.
24 hours old.
And I just, honestly, I just feel strongly, we need to do something absolutely different than what's happening right now. And not just talk about it for a year. We need to put in place something that says, if you're working for the schools, then when you clock out here, you're done here for the day. Okay, so get all your stuff done and be done. Don't need store to come back in and out. And when the sheriff's called out because they're conducting school business in the community center, that's just absolute evidence that it's not firewall. I'm using the term firewalls because I think, you know, God can understand that. Anyway, so if y'all vote and say, go this, I mean, if it's a majority, you go forward that way. I just feel like it needs to be something very strong happening. I feel like taking a bill away says, focus on the job now, because there's been degradation in service. You're doing less, so you don't need as many dollars.
Enforcing hours, having to be there from certain hours and having that reorganization and enforcement of hours is gonna work that out, honestly, if it's enforced. And that's the whole thing. You can set a plan, but things have to be enforced. A plan with no
Right.
enforcement means nothing.
That's exactly.
And I think that's where I'm at. Is
Hey, we're not trying to discount what you're saying.
Yeah,
We
not at all.
totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm
and that
I'm not
that
debating you at all. I mean, I've said that before.
Okay, y'all tell me calm down.
No,
Let my
you're-
blood pressure go.
no blood pressure skyline, okay, no.
Just so you know, when I get calls, every time, go look at the video, you'll see I advocated strongly for a change. 'Cause
You
I know-
can, and we're not like,
And I think Warren's saying that he agrees that there needs to be some change. and he's
Yeah.
gonna- he's working.
so again, I'm full on motion mode.
Okay.
I would say, because I think this is contentious, that having it documented by a vote would be important. So I would make a motion that we move forward with the next 6 months as permitted, giving Mr. Perry the opportunity to create a reorganization plan and put in a plan of action for it, and that we reevaluate as this
Second that motion.
Discussion.
discussion.
I'll vote for this, but to me, saying 6 months is not good enough, but I'll vote for and approve it because at the very least, that's the minimum that I think needs to be done. I think we need to take 3 steps past that.
And part of what I'm saying, 6 months. is
So I'll
so
support
much
it,
to
but I
do.
want to go on record saying,
In 6 months, if it's not heading in the right direction, I'll support you.
All right, all in favor? Good deal. That was fun, y'all.
y'all were gonna know I'm gonna come today.
No, I like it. I genuinely enjoy the conversation and debate. All right, so we're good on that?
Yep.
Did we get any kind of consensus on that special appropriation talk? Was everything else good there?
What was?
Because I was,
Yeah, I think there was one, I think the other one I was gonna,
so we have Gates Partners for Health at 5,000, we have Gates County Chamber of Commerce at 5,000, Food Bank of the Albemarle at 5,000. We have the Gates Housing Committee, it has 10,000 recommended, you're proposing nothing.
Zero, that's where it stands.
Albemarle Hope Line at 1,500, Albemarle RC&D at 750,
What is that? C and D.
that's what I was thinking.
Resource conservation
and yes,
development.
development.
Yes, and they do a lot.
Where's this out?
I'm on the budget
What is
proposal.
it?
The summary.
Yes,
For example, they help, well, wait a minute. I can advocate, we need a commissioner to attend the meeting
okay,
and get to know your colleagues that support
68.
this. It's a big benefit for folks that have
Okay.
a large tract of land that can access different grant monies.
okay.
And then sometimes they do community projects like the,
I'm happy to get connected with them at some point. I could not go to the
for $750,
campaign, but
even if you only do it once a year for the meeting. It's a good group of folks to, because it's got commissioners and private folks too.
that's fine. Okay. All right, so 750 for them and Beaver Management Program is 6,000.
All right, explain that one to me.
It's
The beaver management,
They blow up.
that's really good, USDA, so I use them a lot. They're the only guys that can come in, if you have a beaver,
Mhm.
build a dam in any creek.
Like in your.
They're the only guys that can legally come in and kill the beavers and remove.
And remove the dam.
And they respond. Yeah.
I mean, this is just to keep somebody.
Don't
And how much are we allocating for that?
That has 6,000 is the recommended. Let me see what they asked. I'm not sure.
But we're doing zero for housing? That don't really,
Yeah.
that don't really sound good to me.
So
So doing zero for
Let me
housing,
see.
but we're gonna do 6,000 that.
No, this is
we
also
need-
for
we need-
discussion
we need
right
to do
now.
Something for housing.
Well, my point with housing is, it's already funded through the Albemarle, commission.
And they get, the individual housing group gets grants and they get administrative costs with their grants.
How much funding is Albemarle Commission funding housing annually?
Oh, there's the $2.9 million is a recurring fund that they spend out continuously. Honestly, in the last year or two, they spent about 500,000 of that one. And then the biannual one that's right now in place for Gates and Terrell County is the 365,000. They put those in place like every 3 to 5 years. They'll do one, so everybody that has needs, they try and address as many of them. And actually, the 365, I asked them, I said, is that a lot good number? They said, no, if we have more people come in that need more, we can actually go and get more money there. They assess that because traditionally, how much gets asked for between the two counties over the 2 or 2.5 year period that they exercise it. So I mean, it's not really truly limited to 365 for 2 years. It's really could be more, but to be honest with you, that's why we've only had 3 people apply this last season. 3 people is all. So they show a high demand. Or we aren't doing a good enough job, there's confusion, they need to go to the local housing people instead of to the Albemarle Commission for it. I think we're causing ourselves confusion by being the one county that still has a local housing group that seems to function. Hyde did away with theirs because they said the same thing. They said, yeah, we got rid of theirs a year and a half ago. They were the last one besides us. Because they said, yeah, there's confusion. People thought they had to go through them. And we had the whole pot of money. Hyde nobody was taking advantage of it in Hyde County. So they did away with theirs and I guess it's picked up through the Albemarle Commission.
Yeah, so
It really is a centralized program. It's a good thing.
And do they have the capacity to actually have people on the ground? And I'm just gonna
They
say,
actually contracted. So what they did is just like the local housing group does, they go out and they vet contractors. Contractors can apply to be certified that they're good and reputable to do the work.
I think
And then
the
they do an
key
assessment of the building,
is
what
the
needs to be
bids
done.
are for the most vulnerable populations. And I'm thinking back to a report we had just a little over a year ago. Given the history of the, because, one of our volunteers is our director of transportation, who in her service area helps to identify folks that really are vulnerable, really do not have the capacity or the family support to carry them over to the Albemarle Commission and fill out paperwork.
That's why they can easily refer them to the local social services. They've said, yeah, that Willie Smith crowd, very plugged in. Agency on Aging, I guess, is the group that handles it from the regional perspective, and they easily can do it. And they believe, hey, this is not a problem. It's not a problem.
That's the heavy workload on PSS though, the additional workload on the top of it.
No, they don't do the paper. All they do is refer it over to Albemarle Commission. And the guy, I can't think of his name. I keep forgetting his name. I talked to him over and over again. And he says, if need be, he says, we can come over to Gates County. He says, the few that we've had, it's never been an issue with getting paperwork to them. It's just simply getting people aware of it. So, I mean, and they do a great vetting process with contractors in our area.
if we're the only county that does this, then
Yeah.
we need to be
We're
more
causing the
confusion
confusion.
the regions doing.
But I think the advantage of us doing it is we are, like, so I would say we're identifying constituents that need services. A lot of time, constituents here don't know how to go about the process, or taking care of the paperwork and all that. And I know you're saying about the contractors, vet them, that's great. But I'm thinking about the citizens here who need housing, who don't know how to go about getting the housing, and they have the housing authority here in Gates County that can assist them
So
in
I
the
have a
process.
question then with that. If you're talking about assisting, like getting them connected with, if we were doing, let's
So
just be,
application, and everything.
with this meter one something out there though, like the housing authority is volunteer, like the committee is volunteer. Would they volunteer to work in conjunction with Albemarle Commission to help fill out paperwork to do the funding through Albemarle Commission as far as a joint? So we're bringing the two
that's a good
entities
question.
together. Is that an option? Because if we're talking about doing paperwork and that kind of stuff, having people in the ground that know Gates County people, and we have a much larger pot of money to work with Albemarle Commission, could the two work together to get our county taken care of?
Yes, that's the question I have to ask them.
I mean, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does, it does. So,
Because I feel like that sounds like it would benefit more people and getting more work done as far as availability and resources. If we could put the two working together in conjunction with the overall purpose being taking care of our citizens.
I think it'd be great to have a conversation with that committee and give their perspective on the point. And maybe they'll have a better justification than what I'm trying to
I'm just,
have
I
dialogue.
mean, honestly, your own rationale was is if they wanted to make the argument, they could come in to make a sales pitch. It didn't happen, so,
Well, we didn't invite them
Right,
to come
right,
to.
exactly.
okay. I mean, we didn't invite any of these guys, though, did we?
No.
well, they
But
put it,
this- Again, this is, I'm,
Yeah.
the optics for the community.
Right.
This is a group that's been volunteering for over 20 years and has a long, positive track record. I think would warrant a little bit of discussion
I agree.
just to avoid any missteps that.
Yeah, I think we're catering to a group of people because of a potential kind of sort of perception that, to me, it's just a matter of, it's a duplication. It's a, that's not like duplication. To me, it's like, we're gonna spend a lot more time talking about it for $10,000, when clearly it's being done everywhere else.
It don't have to be 10, I'm not saying it have to be $10,000, but zero, I'm saying that either. What I'm saying is, you know, I don't want to say what I'm gonna say, but I think we need to really look hard at this, and, you know, and consider everything. Yeah, I think it'd be wisdom if we do, because
I feel like
just use wisdom in this situation. Like,
I'd love to have somebody from the housing committee and somebody from Albemarle Commission come in and sit down and see if that joint option is an
That'd be a
option.
good conversation.
I would like to do that. We have people here that are helping with paperwork, that are willing to do the things, that are feet on the ground. If they would do it in conjunction with Albemarle Commission and kind of, like I said, if we have a big pot of money,
They can do that anytime. It doesn't have to be done in conjunction with this budget. That's my point, is we're trying to make sound financial decisions.
I think it's not.
We're buying an extra service here.
Excuse me, I apologize. I don't think it's a sound financial position to go to zero. And I don't think it's a sound, position to go to 10,000 like I originally did. But 0 and 10, they gotta be some kind of median, you know, especially for a service that's been offered for a long period of time and the help. Well, you already, my justification.
all right, so where are we at?
At 0.
I'm at 0.
I'm at 5.
I'm gonna say, and again, I'm all about transition and time of transition.
You said you were going with the majority before.
I did say I was going with the majority before.
And, excuse
Go
me,
ahead.
I say something? We don't want a perception that we're not addressing a certain demographic, you know what I'm saying? People who is in poverty, people who are less fortunate, the marginalized. And what I'm saying, and I hope I'm not saying what I'm saying, that we don't want to fund the marginalized.
I feel like Albemarle Commission is for, I think that-
It's going to help the marginalized in Gates County to help identify them and help them throughout the process. This committee has really benefited those citizens.
I think it's also confusing a lot of citizens that they don't, are not aware that this money is out there.
And that's why the ones in Gates County, it's confusing them when they have, if they were to reach out to Albemarle Commission, it'd really be
I will,
a challenge for these citizens. But when they can connect people who they know, volunteer within the county, that's gonna work along hand in hand, it's gonna make the process easier. But that's just my opinion.
I would support you more about that if we were not the only county in the whole 10 county region that did this. Because we're the only one that does it, and it's taking money away from, I mean, we don't have so much money, right? And it's taking money away from other things that we need to be using the money for. And when there is a large organization that's completely set up to do this, that is for the low income folks that need the help that they need, and they're there to help them, and they'll fill all the paperwork out and all that. It's a double up of money being spent, right? And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's, you know, something that's doubled up. We don't need to spend Gates County citizens' money for something that's being doubled up. Let's use that money somewhere else that we can further help.
And I didn't even say, what's the money being used for? Because, I mean, whether it's 5,000 or 10,000 or 20, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket compared to what the Albemarle Commission. So I mean, easily, what they can spend is 100 times that, you know, potentially if the people are identified. So I mean, what do we get for 5,000?
Yeah, and I'm sure they're getting other grants, right, to help pay for things, right? And it's good that the county helped them get going for several years and kind of gave them that little extra money to kind of help with that. That's good. It's a good thing. They probably, you know, just like how GITS is self-funded now. GITS does great. They get their own grants. They do a really good job and all that, right? And they're self-sufficient. I think that, you know, they're probably self-sufficient at this point in time. And so since there's so much money that's out there at the Albemarle Commission, we need to be pointing our citizens to that money because it is a lot that is out there for us.
Right, we gotta do a good job marketing because,
Yes.
you know, that's gonna be a key factor.
Yeah, I will spend that money marketing this.
So are we at, with that consensus there? Is that,
I mean, I don't know.
I'm still, I know it's gonna pass, but I'm just gonna,
Understood.
no, I can 100% respect that and understand that. I would like to say, like with the zero, I still would like to have that conversation and that numbers and with Albemarle Commission and see if we can team them up and get feet on the ground here. Like, I think that's really important that
They clearly got.
they have a heart for it. And so I think that
Yep.
that's my stipulation for it, to make sure that roundtable conversation happens and we connect bids and we try to move forward for Gates County.
Very good.
Okay. What are we missing? SO games, we said we would revisit that when we can have them at the table.
The Beaver Management
The
Program.
Beaver Management Program, we're hung up on. Okay, there we go.
How often are they coming to Gates County and doing it?
All the time.
Really?
They're constantly clearing out beavers. So
We have reported commission when they're talking about the waters backing up over here.
It's- because it has to do with the environmental management is the issue. And legally, they are the only ones that are committed to do that kind of work.
I have the gas speed down. I'm telling you, they really are good. And you say they charge people, the reality is, I can't think of the guy's name right now, Steven, I think it is. He charges one time to come out, but like if you have repeated beaver problem, like usually where there's one, there's 3, 4, 5. And he charges one time to come out and do things, he'll come back and he'll keep killing beaver or moving
But-
until they're gone. So it's an extremely good program.
We could ask for a 5-year background on how many they've taken care of each year for the past 5 years and see if we're actually getting funding back for it.
Yeah, I would like to know that.
I think that's,
Yeah, but it's USDA, believe it or not. it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't think they come to Gates County and,
are we putting in 6,000 and they're doing it in Parker County? Is that what you're saying? Okay, how much does it cost? How much does it cost per, and how many times per year are they actually actively doing it in the county? Are we paying for a service, or are we putting in and we're just getting it when we need it?
Get it with it.
Oh, I get it. But it's all that's protected. You can't do nothing with that anyway.
All right,
You can call, honestly, you can call for Clemens County and ask them about it, very active over there.
Yeah.
And the county paid the bill for the town. And I know they kept going back and said, hey, the county gonna pay for us to do it again next year. And I remember calling, he just retired, Frank Heath. But Frank says, yeah, we pay him every year. It's a great deal.
Yeah, but for Clemens, doesn't have nowhere near the amount of protected swamplands like Gates County does.
right.
Right.
So most of our swamplands, we can't do anything to it anyway.
USDA.
How many have you actually come in to dismount here in Gates County? It's a lot like
All right, so as for report for the past 5 years, how many per year have they dismantled in Gates County?
You're anti-beaverite.
No. See, we were on this space earlier.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Market plan, we're good with all the other ones.
I'm good with that, it's just, I like to know.
Safety. Looking through, going through, do we have any other major?
I was gonna ask one, Mr. Sal. I talked to Willie last year about the whole records management, since we're talking about the portable generator or whatever. And the records consolidation they were gonna do and scan everything in, and he said, yeah, we didn't use the money. And, yeah, I think y'all concurred, yeah, they didn't spend the money. But then they said, we would come back and still gonna do that at some point. Has there been any additional discussion? I think, because my understanding is from talking to a couple of employees there, they said there's still massive files in there that have not been addressed. So
And with Mr. Smith's exodus.
there's not a point putting it in right now, but then
Yep.
it might be next year's budget. We'll come back and say, yeah, we need to, yeah.
She may be.
It really needs to be done, from what a couple of people told me. So, okay, it literally takes up a bunch of their space. I mean, a bunch of their space.
So my request that we look into at the end of the meeting the other night for appreciation type one-time deals, let's open that conversation, because I know we all have various opinions on that too.
Well, before you get to that.
Okay, never mind.
Or sewer rate revenues.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, I gotta get to that.
where are we standing now with our tax rate? What we just talked about.
You making a wild and a swag or wing dish.
With no COLA, it's still the six.
No, we're saying,
No, we're saying 3%.
Oh, with the COLA, but that's one thing, because this year is basically to reduce how much fund balance allocation I use, so it's not gonna really affect the bottom line number.
okay,
Was it
so
wasn't also an increase due to the longevity plan that we put in place?
But that was part of the,
That's building.
trying to incorporate this in, say, and increasing the, health insurance and the retirement and all that,
Okay.
already built in.
So to quote you, sorry if I'm not quoting you wrong, is that 1 penny of tax increase accounts for $130,000.
137 raise.
So instead of raising it by 1 penny, we are flush with the general fund instead of raising the tax rate. Could we not simply take $130,000 out of general fund and not raise the tax rate?
We could do that too.
I would prefer that.
I was just going on the consensus that most of this year will affect the fund balance, it's just gonna reduce that, but I wasn't kind of applying.
Right, I get it, yeah, but I'm just saying simply to keep from taking it, because historically, and I think I sent it to you all, a little table. For everybody in our area, in my sweet five that I talked about, everybody after revaluation has done really good about for 4 to 5 years, not raising their tax rate beyond what it was the year after that. And I think for us to be the guys that be the break the precedent, but everybody else can jump our tax rate up, start doing it every year afterwards.
To y'all's direction, I can do that, yes.
And when, gave 3%, what's the 5%? What would tax rate be? 3% would be 68 cents, so where would we be at 5%?
It'll be
Actually,
it'll be about another penny, because I made some adjustments.
just
to
2
get
cents.
to the 3%,
Just
because I
2
really need a little bit more, but I went.
Yeah.
Just 2 cents, okay, just 2 cents.
You're talking, general consensus is about $60,000 per percentage, so $300,000 increase from where we are.
Let me ask you,
Okay.
because you hear this a lot. That Gates County, our employees are not paid as well as other surrounding communities. Do we know that to be a fact?
Sure.
We've done,
How?
we've done salary surveys over the last few years when questions like this have come up. I don't know that we've done any.
I would like to know what specific positions are underfunded.
Well, we haven't done a salary survey, we've done on certain
On
positions,
certain positions. yeah.
but we have not done anything since 2018. Whole workforce.
SAG offers that, they're right, they can do
Yeah,
that.
they come.
No, they
Not
cut,
in-
they cut the cost for it,
And
They
this
don't
is-
even do that survey anymore, that stopped in 2020.
which then CAC is looking at how to address that moving forward, but the the school government law.
I kind of agree, I like Nathan's one, that even if we spend a little bit of money to go and get one done comprehensively, that's a fair way to look at it. So next year, if we have that survey in hand and say, yeah, we're consistently under by a bunch, it makes some sense for us to start giving an extra percentage or whatever to our employees to go along with COLAs to get the
Or
raises.
conversely, that's target in some areas and not
Yes,
others.
yeah.
They have some-
Well, that's what I'm saying. If targeted areas would be even better, you can say, hey, we know these guys are classified low. Anybody that's like, say, just throwing out there 5% or 10% lower than what it says they should be, we would adjust those to
Well,
various
tell you
things.
what, Warren and I were in a meeting, remember Denise Stinagle, who was one of our
Yes.
facilitators?
Yes.
She came in last week, they've got, graduate
Yes.
students that have just finished their master's degree, they're looking for internship projects at a high level. And if we could come up with a project, was the challenge she
Yes.
gave us, this would be an excellent.
This is
The strategic member services team have, and they're incredible, what they've done for counties across the
Yeah,
state, has
she
been incredible.
said she really wanted to try to help Gates.
Yes.
And this would be.
And I know Renee, and Renee has been in conversations with Julie too, who's with, Tracy with the strategic member services there, as far as Denise goes. I agree 100%. We need to utilize them if we have the chance.
Yeah, and my thoughts when it comes to something like this is that I don't want Gates County to be the lowest, and we should be the highest.
Right.
Because also too, within Gates County, there's a cost of convenience.
Yeah.
And not having to travel outside of your home county that you live in to another county, the fuel and the wear and tear you put in your car and all that, that's worth something. And so, yeah, we shouldn't be the lowest, but we shouldn't be the highest either.
So when they do that, see, they do them differently. I think it's up near west of Richmond. I saw one, somebody showed me. And like us, it was a smaller county. And so they had the price comparison to other small counties within Virginia, but then they had this weird diagram where it said, but you're influenced by the greater Richmond metropolitan area. And so they weighted in a factor of like 3 or 4% extra because the eastern part of the county was potentially a commuting area for Richmond. Even as a long commute, it was potential. And they literally had a chart that showed, here's just weighted with counties of our size. Here's weighted when influenced by being a Richmond suburb and commuting area. And it was really pretty cool. I think we would need to do the same thing because if we just look in North Carolina, small counties, my sweet five, that'd do a disservice. In this case, I'd say we need to look at, Southern Virginia, the bigger city, Elizabeth City, and some of those areas.
Even bring.
Yeah.
But Greenville's a little bit long commute though for somebody, but if it's a commutable area, we should be having that way into.
Well, we look at Hertford County and Pasquotank, but we really don't compare ourselves to them.
Right.
because We don't have the population.
Right.
Right.
So, but we do compare ourselves to the Quinmans.
Right.
Sure.
But out of our 5,800 people that commute out of our that work age in our county, this is 2 years ago data that I conjured up. Out of 5,800 potential people working here, 2,700 commuted out of our county for other jobs.
Yeah.
So that means over half or pretty close to half our workforce can go to those better paying areas and get better paying salaries. I'm one of them,
Well,
right?
realistically, our entire board, I mean, he retired from Newport, our entire board is outside of the
Right.
county. Work.
So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of important that, yeah, even though, we don't compare ourselves directly to Berkeley, we probably should have it influence our salaries some, as well as Elizabeth City, because people commute there, even to Eaton, and definitely like me,
Suffolk.
across the
Like,
line. I mean, I
Well,
commute.
we bring people in too. I mean,
Yes. Oh, I know.
Yeah, we have a good.
But
portion.
we have a hard time bringing them in here. If they
Yeah.
live in a higher cost of living area, we never commute here for a job.
They're not coming from Suffolk and Franklin.
Right.
Coming here.
Yeah, they don't-
They're right.
well, back in 21, after we did that salary study, and then it was put on hold due to COVID, and
Yes.
we did not receive a COLA at all, and then in 21, the commissioners became more aggressive because we got so far behind.
Yeah.
And then because of COVID went down. So our COLAs were more aggressive at 5.5%.
Yeah.
And 5, and then 3s and all. And that has helped us come up out of the compression because we were severely compressed when that was done.
Well, our school's still on.
It's ever been, yeah.
I would venture even to say if we can go through and get this study done, that after we do the study, we can have a work session, talk about it and target. All right, if we see that it's some specific positions that are low, that we can talk about and go ahead and give them an increase to get them where they should be.
Yeah. I think that's what really, I talked to him separately when he was asking for a certain individual in his staff to get a bump up as a financial director. he was saying we're by far the lowest. I think he was showing me Pasquotank. I said, well, Pasquotank's not a clear comparison, but then compared to Chowan, we were still low. And then I'm trying to remember the other one, Northampton or something, we were still low.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Usually Washington County is the one that's lower than us.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they pay their people very poorly.
Right, but they're also, if you look at them strictly geographically, it's hard as heck for those folks to commute to anywhere from near the chief. So they have kind of a captured population. So, yeah, you know.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, outside of being short, let's just say short pay in your position, like outside of that, the normal environment right now is 2.8 to 3%. Living adjustments,
Yeah.
kind of like what this area is all about right now.
So I'm gonna tell you where my brain is at. I can get on board with the 3% if we're doing the one-time bonus that I mentioned. I'm just saying, like, I'm
So I-
struggling with the 3 to 5, like, I mean, just saying, I feel like,
But I'm not saying I'm saying 3 to 5 for everybody, but we're gonna do this study and we're gonna figure out who's short.
next year, yeah.
No, we're
Well,
gonna
it'll
study
take a
right now.
while to,
It's
I said, if we're
gonna
going
take-
through,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
take
take
4
all
to
this
5
year, and
months.
we're gonna take a while to get
But
somebody.
if you got grad students, it might be a little quicker.
But we gotta get that grad student in here first, so there's gonna be maybe at least 6 to 8 months.
Okay, let's just say it's 6 months.
Okay.
Well, then at that point in time, you
You move on
find
to
out
the
what's
next
going
one.
on. Yeah, well, not only that, but you can go ahead and theoretically, go ahead and up that person's pay.
We can,
Right then and there.
we can do that.
You know more about sales tax than.
And we could even give them a one-time bonus to kind of take care of the back pay for the previous year, the previous 6 months.
What's our attrition rate as far as our turnover rate? Do we know that?
Well, it's much better since we have started bringing the salaries up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, yeah, currently, in the last year or so, I mean, are we losing 5%, 10%, 20%?
No.
To me, that kind of argues that, okay, we're not.
We're treating them well.
Yeah,
We're staying,
Yeah, we've
So then
made
we
progress, we've made progress since Mr. Sowers got
and the
here.
sheriff's office is a really good indicator of that, and DSS.
Right.
There was one time we were seriously moving into being just a training county.
Yeah.
Surely. But I really feel like we have come up out of that
right.
now.
And what I'm hearing too from people is they feel like they have a board that listens to them, like from staff perspective, so I think that's.
And I think with your new policy manual y'all adopted with the longevity, you basically giving them a bonus this year, didn't one year before, that actually
Yeah.
qualify for
Well, doing things like that to show appreciation, you know, I have looked at things in the past and there wasn't any money, and I hope we'll be able to find my magician over here, find things sometimes. But, you know, things like when someone's here 5 years, you know, Renee and I kind of talked about it, but it was something I had looked at before, is give them something with our county seal on it.
Yeah.
You know, certain things, we need to do more employee appreciation
And
programs.
honestly, the Christmas at the end of the year, having like the time of recognition would be a nice time when everybody's together, have some kind of recognition ceremony as a part of that luncheon. Giving them the afternoon off, planning for a half day that day, giving them the afternoon off, but to go back for 2 hours after having lunch with us. I think that that is a good show of appreciation too.
Yes,
Feed them, show recognition, have our door prizes, and then you have the afternoon off, go home, enjoy your family.
yes.
Okay, let's make some progress here.
Okay.
Okay.
It's progress.
I'm not discounting, I think we're all of us want to see things get better, and we have a idea, give you credit, an idea of going back and assessing it, so in the midterm timeline, we should be able to go make some real adjustments if needed, as needed, yeah.
Okay.
So are y'all gonna recruit them, go see about recruiting?
Yes, we'll be back in touch with you.
Okay,
Great.
Yeah.
well, we still need to talk about our enterprise funds, right?
Well, before you get off that, I still want to make sure I understand what kind of pool you.
3%.
3%.
Did we vote on that?
We
Yeah,
have,
no, I mean, right now, we're sitting at 3 unless somebody
like I said,
objects.
to me, I'm like with the salary study, I'm happy with 3, knowing that mid-year we would be able to adjust salaries appropriately.
Yeah, I'm in the discussion. I say 5%, The reason why I said 5%, I made reference to, Mr. Wim, and, it's only a 2 cent difference. And, like I said in the meeting before, people are our most valuable resource. You know, and that should be considered. And 2 cent, really? 2 cent? 2 cent versus, wow, something to think about. Especially when you deal with most highest resources that we have in our people out, you know, so
Well, it would be two, I mean, what, it's to go to 5, it's,
2 cent.
I
Right,
think I,
it's 2 cent,
well,
it's 2 cent.
back to Forsyth's comment, if you allow me to use allocated fund balance, if you basically took all this out, I wouldn't have to raise the rate. But we just commit some of the savings.
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
yeah, I get it. I want to do it to keep from raising the tax rate,
yeah,
but I don't want to do it to go up from 3 to 5 because I think we are going to be an outline. That's why I was asking about a retention rate and some other stuff. We have a plan to address it in the short term. If we give a 3% like everybody else, we're holding steady in my mind. And then if the study evaluates and says, hey, we need to do more, especially on some key positions, we can do more at that point. And it's based upon facts. And I'm sorry, it fall back on being an engineer. You know, we like to have our numbers and backup and research to tell us, yeah, this is a smart thing to do. And right now I see 3% is consistent with the vast majority of everybody else that's in this region. It's consistent with the consumer price index for the Southeast. And it's just seems like beyond that, it seems like I could perceive me as a taxpayer saying, okay, why is Gates County given a much higher rate than everybody else? Why are they doing that? Why are our elected officials spending their money that way?
So basically what we're saying is our workforce isn't a top priority. And just because we're not doing everything what everybody else is doing, it's not acceptable. So 2 cent is not, it's not insignificant.
I feel like, and like I said, we need, knowing that we would be looking at another mid-year raise that would be more, that could be more than 5%.
It might be none, that it might be none if the study comes back, it could be none, right?
I believe we're looking at.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm processing. I didn't mean that, like, because of you. I was, no, it was, that's my thought sound.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for 3% COLA.
I make a motion for a 5%
Well,
COLA.
my motion's on the floor.
So,
Oh, excuse
yeah,
me.
So you made a motion.
3%.
I'll second your motion.
any discussion?
We beat this horse to pieces.
I'm
The
just-
perception is whether 3% is adequate or not.
And we're saying 3% per regional standard is there, and we're gonna do a study that could allow higher.
Adjustments on a case-by-case basis depending upon
Right.
whether we're paying comparable.
And the source of revenue is the fund balance on this one? Or is that still?
Yeah, well, that's the intent, is that, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's.
Yeah, fund balance, yeah, my motion will be 3% with the understanding that to preclude a tax increase, the cost would be taken out.
So this would keep us at 67
Keep us at
instead of having
67.
a tax increase. Okay. All in favor of the 3% motion on the floor?
Opposed,
All opposed?
Uh,
All right,
enterprise funds.
enterprise fund.
yeah, we need to talk about everything.
I think that all right, let's move on.
Again, I introduced it to
Not done revisiting.
budget kickoff. We've implemented our rates from our rate study, and regionally, we are one of the lowest. And the rating for financing and support from the state, they want us to be competitive, they want us to be operating at a +1 ratio. Again, we'd be most likely at an annual if we went out several years with the study, so.
Yeah. I agree with it. I don't see a problem with it. We're asking for a lot of money from the state, and how can we go to the state and ask for the type of money that we're asking for when we're not asking the
Exactly.
people who are using
We're not
it.
showing good stewardship. Yeah.
Unless somebody has a,
I have no issue with the water sewer rate fees, increased requests, like, to me, and again, looking at regionalization, we're still lower than so many around us, like, that's just being, it's, the water department should be self-sufficient. It should not require funds from us, and so,
Putting reserves aside, so if you all want to extend the water line for
Mhm.
whatever project may come up,
we,
you've got capital to work with,
Right.
without borrowing money or.
I mean, realistically, yeah, we're way behind there anyways.
The beauty of this is it is a graded thing. So for people on fixed income,
Yeah.
grandma or granddad by themselves, this impacts them less. The big users pay more for it.
Like,
People like me,
family of
5
six, yeah.
kids, and kids that take the hour-long power shower. Gosh.
No,
You know,
no, you.
I have 3 teenagers and it's killing me. So, but I do say that with moving back to the monthly billing, I think this makes this more amenable to people, which I actually like. I'll say that. I didn't lobby, but I hated to buy monthly
Me
billing.
too.
But I think this
Someone
is,
forgot.
this is fairest as possible. So I'll make a motion to accept these rates as proposed.
Also, I want to discuss,
Well,
and I just basically want to say, it's fair, I agree, yes.
Okay, so you a second? Second on
Yes,
the motion?
second, yes.
Okay, all in favor? Good deal. All right,
you had to work hard. for that.
moving down to number
Yeah.
9.
Five bucks sweat on that.
Solid waste, we've run in a deficit the last 3 years. We are proposing a $20 increase on the annual fee for the household. Presently, it's $240. This would be $260.
Where is that one at?
Is that
Is that in the book?
Well, you're looking at my budget message.
In the best.
The here, sorry.
Okay.
But what I really want to talk to you about is, because this is an availability. We are making convenience centers available for our residents to use on their schedule. You know, when they clean out the garage, when they, you know, drag stuff out of the attic. Gates County for a number of years only bills the folks that live in the town of Gatesville $120 per year. And then Gatesville had been using that money to provide curbside pickup. I don't know when they started it, but they've had it for a while.
Decades, yeah.
And again, my question is it fair if they're paying a half rate, but they could still on Saturday carry their,
If I may, as a Gatesville resident, I think we should fully be paying what the county is paying, especially now that the rest of the county is having to pay Dixie for their pickup. I think it would only be fair when we're able to use convenience sites and we have pickup included, that we pay the fee that everyone else in the county is paying.
and Taylor Fisher wanted me to explain too, we have a few customers who qualify for the homestead exemption. You have to be over 65 or 100% disabled,
Mhm.
but the income cap is $38,000 per household. So whether it's a single elderly person or an elderly couple with two, it's 38,000 is the cap.
Yeah.
If they're over that, they don't qualify for the homestead exemption, which also gives them a break on.
Right.
Property
On property
taxes.
taxes. No, I mean, I'm 100% for the entire county doing the same fee. I really,
And of course, as you drive through the county, you see more and more of these black and red Dixie rollout containers. And the survey that I took of one customer is it's $29.95 a month to have that pickup at your
Once a
house.
week.
Is it once a week or once?
And then once a week.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's once a week pickup, but
But
it's
it's a
once,
monthly fee.
it's a monthly fee of
Yeah.
$30 basically.
That's pretty cheap.
that's pretty great, yeah.
I charged 18 back in 19.
Well, gas prices are a whole lot higher now.
But I'm saying 18 for the same service
But
once a
but
week.
again, those folks would, you know, they're still,
Yeah, there's so
especially, it's because it's an availability fee.
Yeah.
Because that service is available just to any of our residents, because things happen and, you know, your wife says, you gotta clean out that garage this week.
So what is our solid waste fee now to county?
$240.
240, looking at moving it to 260 and increasing it for Gatesville to
And
260,
it's
like the rest of
billed
the
with your
county.
tax
Yeah.
I knew
So
that.
it's not a monthly charge, it's rolled up in their taxes.
All right, I make a motion, we accept the rates and with the adjustment of including Gainesville paying their fair share according to the same rate.
Second that motion.
Any discussion? If not, we'll take a vote for all in favor. All right, that is unanimous. We're rolling now. The organizational chart, which
This
I
is
did
great,
not,
by the way.
I did not realize had a second
Renee
page.
put that together. And
Yeah.
again, this is really just a functional
Yeah.
diagram, it's a work in progress.
It's taken me 2 weeks to try and do, to be honest with
Oh,
you.
It was not easy, I thought.
Yeah, I can say I've done these before, man, it's painful.
It is. I was on the generator for the sheriff's office, we've got a quote right now, $3,250 to get it fixed, but it will take like 3 months to get the parts in.
Yeah, we should do that. We
Yeah.
should move in. You need a motion on that?
I don't think we need a motion, we just gotta, we just talked to William about where the line items would be. But that's, we wait on the second quote now, but that's what we just got that.
That's, yes.
$3,245.36.
Okay, did you want to talk about your issue?
My issue, which was my issue, hold on.
The individual employee thing, or were you accepting the COLA discussion is taking care of that too? Because I was gonna say, I had a little bit more discussion with the schools about it.
As far as a
One time.
supplement, the
We
one
talked about
time,
one time.
yeah,
So we had talked in our meeting in May about with the schools in our joint meeting and how we had previously for several years given the teachers $1,100 annual supplement.
Mhm.
We talked, I think I suggested 1,500 or whatever. They did not implement that. Their hard work they were doing, they said, we're not gonna ask for that in this budget to stay at the 2.9 million, we're gonna stick at the 1,100. So they didn't ask to go up, even though it hasn't changed for them in 3 years. So I just want to make that point before we talk about it. You said something. The other part too is, Mr. Byron, with all due respect, he said they have 320 employees,
353.
it's not, it's 253.
250.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's.
So I pulled out,
the number.
I pulled out the numbers from, and was gonna point it out to Danny. Hey, Danny's like, Dave, it was wrong when he said it, we knew it. I'm like, he said, I knew you were gonna throw it in my face, so.
We're looking at 370 total across the board for county staff and school
Right.
staff.
And so anything we do, you're proposing to do it for both county employees and school employees is what you're asking about.
I would like to, that's,
Okay, now, we're going to advocacy days next week, and I was gonna lobby with the various school board members and talk to y'all as well. I mentioned the idea of a track. We're talking about having budget surplus. And the schools right now floundering around with the troubles they have and potential other things. I did mention to two of the school board members that, hey, I personally like to see us do a track. They were emphatically in support of that, thought that'd be great. And I said, but we have a limited amount of money. We don't go on a crazy spending spree. And I think this is something that, I'd like to propose. If we start talking about spending money on fund balance, where you're talking about adjusting it, we keep it from having a cost, tax adjustment dipping in there. I think we ought to also consider we're going to spend probably $1.3 million to build a track facility for the county, which is way past due. That's $1.3 million. And in light of, if we're giving money to employees in town, a lot that we need to keep in mind for Williams purposes, how much are we going to tap into that fund balance? And where are we going to end up at the end of the day? Commissioner Berryman mentioned to me in a sidebar discussion about, we could be prepared to spend money for our community center that's coming up, our senior center and other things.
we don't get funding.
And I don't want to see us sitting in a real high fund balance, because my perception will be is that the state will say, yeah, man, you desperately need it. If your fund balance is that high, aren't you paying for some of this yourself? Maybe I'm misreading that, but so I think we can do some things that we need to do now. And at the same time, within 2 to 3 years, we need other money depending on how we manage our money, how well William manages our money.
Right, let's give credit where it's due, right?
With an amenity like that, I think we talked real briefly about, would that be on the school campus or could that be part of the community center
Right.
outlay?
So the two school board members, again, I want to talk to two of the board. both of them, I said, from my perspective, we want to plan out this future community center, senior center. I'd like to see us have an outdoor pool so Gates County kids can have a place to learn to swim and do other stuff. And I said, I'd like to see us do a track near to that facility because a lot of seniors would go out there and
Yes,
walk.
I
I'll
agree.
tell you, in Japan, people my age were like youngsters compared to some of the older folks that got out and walked. And everywhere there was a school in the urban area of Greater Tokyo with 30 million people, everywhere there was a school, there was always senior citizens out
Yeah.
You
walking.
know, it's a regular senior game.
Yeah,
Here
exactly.
instead of going to
Right.
another.
So my perception would be, it'd be great to co-locate those things. Track facility, because again, when they have track meets, those are not really during school times. And most of the track meets I've gone to, like at Perquimans this year and in the past Bertie and not Chowan, but Martin County. You go down there, whether they're close to school or not, people are pouring in from everywhere else. It doesn't have to be close to
Well,
you.
there are matching grants, for
Yeah.
things like that, when you put the recreational
Yeah.
piece with it. Like when the community center was built,
Yeah.
that was a dollar for dollar match with the Parks and Rec Trust Fund. And so if it was $1,200, 1.2 million,
Right.
it could be there was only half of that, the
Six.
county would have that.
Well, yeah.
I've always had, in my view, this is just my view, right, but the football field that we currently have is right now, it's just a flat piece of grass, you can go play football. There, on the other side of the field house, there should be a brand new, up-to-date football field with a track built around it.
Is there the grade to do it where?
Yeah, where it's all rated out.
We need to walk that sometime.
Yes, we've been saying we need to walk that and see what it looks like. But I always keep saying that's what they make bulldozers for. And so,
True to me.
so that's what I've always thought would be good. And then that would open up some more area. If we ever decide to do anything with the high school later on down the road.
Yeah.
Is if you relocate the football field back there in the back and give more parking
The
for.
real key comes out in my mind is if we talk about having in the school, again, I don't make any assumptions. We speak on behalf of the school. board.
Right.
But when I've talked to school board members and talked about us having a centralized facility for our school's long-term vision of that, then the question is would that be where the high school is?
Yeah.
Or not? And that's the question. We don't have the land in hand. And I really brought this topic up just to be open that if we go to give a supplement, one-time supplement to the employees, I want to make sure we keep in mind of other things we can do with fund balance. Not that employees aren't deserving, Mr. Roundtree pointed out numerous times evaluating our employees and how we need to make sure they're appreciated, but also something that's long, in my mind, overdue a track in the county. And that will bring people in, believe it or not. I mean,
Yes.
equipment's, man, a ton of people. The last track meeting was 8 different schools there. There was so many cars there. The freaking Hardee's was the most populated I've ever seen with people pouring in there after the track meet was over. So, I mean, it does bring people in and revenue, and it's not just a matter of the pride of us having our own field, but I think there's more benefits to that. So I just want to say that in light of, not to say we'll give away money to our employees is not valid, but I want to make sure we also think about a couple other things that are big, not so expensive.
So the fact that both boards are talking about all of these projects is going to work to everybody's
Yeah.
benefit.
And I can say they worked very hard as they worked on this. I think building a track, they all seem to think, yeah, that'd be great. And 1.3 million, there's no other school facility of any sort we can build around here to help our school system for that price. And that would be, I think, really supportive of them, but they've worked so hard and the schools and the kids and everybody else have been impacted with the hard changes we're having to do.
Excuse me.
So anyway, okay, that's my sales pitch. I pushed that too much. I just wanted to put it out there on the table, not for any kind of final decision, but anyway.
I mean, I don't know, like me, in my brain, we talk about the fund balance, we talk about the appreciating staff. If we did, just doing flat numbers, like in my brain, if we did 1,000 to all full-time employees between the domes and 750 to all part-time, that's less than 340 to 45,000, less than that. For a one-time, we appreciate you, we value you, this has been one heck of a year.
So you're running total in your brain, work that leaves us. Fund balance.
So you said what? I'm sorry.
Roughly
340,000.
340,000.
Is that including the tax?
If part-time,
That's pre-tax.
pre-tax, So that would give them about 500, about 750 after for,
Well, that's pre-tax for them, but then the county's gotta turn around and pay.
hey, yeah, gotcha, okay.
Social Security.
So no, but it
So maybe
does
not,
not include the
okay.
county's
So-
portion of it.
So
Okay, so
probably
you gotta
no
add
more than
on.
360 to 370 at most. I think they're worth it. For 370 employees, I think they're worth it. I really do. I mean, y'all may disagree, but that's where my heart and head is at right now. And the heart and head, a lot of times they conflict and I'm like, oh, I can't get them both there. One's saying this and one's saying this, but my heart and head are both saying that this is something we need to do. And I typically go with my head because my heart doesn't lead me good places sometimes. But I get a little, I try to take all emotions and all that out of it.
Yep.
I just feel like this is wise as far as morale, as far as appreciating people. I think that it's a minimal fee to appreciate people. And that's just where I'm at. Y'all have to agree, but
So, one question.
I was trying to see if you had in your head, I know it's hard for you to think in that way, but I keep like a tally sheet running in my head and I think, okay, starting fund balance of X when we walked in this room this afternoon, right, which you were expecting it to be at. And we deduct out the keep from paying the 1%, the 1 cent sales tax, we take out the money for the 3% COLA, okay? And we take out the other miscellaneous things. Where does, I'm trying to get a feel for where that leaves us at fund balance.
We're down to 500,000.
about $500,000.
Happening for this year.
Or it's coming off that growth that we're projecting
650.
again.
Yeah, see, I'm talking about the cumulative, not that this year only.
Yeah, as far as this next year coming up, as far as what would be budgeted, it's about 500,000.
I'm thinking he's talking about what I want to project as having to use fund balance
Yes,
So
for next year.
yes.
what's
I'm
in
thinking
the bank?
close to 700,000.
Close to 700.
Yeah, because you got about 300 with this, the increase,
Right,
and you got about 300 for what you were talking
Well,
about.
it's 300 for the 3-cent increase. 3% COLA?
Well, I don't know anything about the 5%.
Yeah, I was,
I
that's
just,
less.
I know we're jumping.
I know, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, William, I really didn't know if you were keeping
Well-
track in your head.
well, I was, but with the 5%, I had that number locked in my head
Yeah.
because he was asking about that.
Yeah.
2%, was
3%.
750, 450, what little bit you had left there, probably, you probably close $500,000.
Okay, 500,000 is what our fund balance will be sitting at in the bank, what's left after that.
Oh, no, that's what we will commit to spend out of.
Yeah, I'm asking, our
Our fund
percent,
balance there should be, what was it, 8, should be about 9 million?
right, right.
Yeah,
So all I'm trying to get at is if we can afford to do this and still have, we'll still be in the mid 30% range, fund balance. And if we were to spend $1.3 million, say, for a track, we're still gonna be at least in the upper 20s.
Well, if we got a matching grant, you can.
Right, and I'm assuming if we pay for it completely out of pocket. Do you understand where I'm going with this? I'm just trying to mentally picture. I don't want to.
Where's you at with this?
Yeah, where's your head at with this?
I'm trying to get right with it in my head right now.
Where are you at with the idea of the track and then also with the idea of the one-time bonus to the staff? I would say, sure.
Yeah, most definitely, I'm on board with the bonus, because, we didn't give them 5%, give them 3, so we need to give them a bonus at least. And I'm on board.
I'm on board too. I'm on board with the track.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
health wise,
Yeah,
economic wise, community wise, and impact, that's gonna be.
I agree. I feel like we will all be there. I think even, I'm not speaking for Jonathan, I really keep, I think that would be.
Actually, I talked to him, so he thought it was a great idea, but I wouldn't just speak up in the meetings.
so.
And I was gonna say, you sounded like you were, yeah.
Right. My point is just that worst case is we think 1.3. Mr. Bunch, who's the deputy superintendent over for Queens, I talked to him about it because they just built one. I've reached out to a couple of companies that do this and gotten estimates, and all of them seem to be like 1.2 million range for the nice 8-lane, and everybody says do 8 lanes, don't do 6. And so all of them are saying 1.2, I think maybe 1.3, depending on time frame. And like you said, that's the worst case. If we got no matching grant or anything else, that's just worst case we would hit.
I would, all right, 2 things.
Yeah.
As far as the bonus, I'm getting this right in my mind because it's like, okay, I give my employees bonuses and all that, but my stuff is always based off of, production and how much money we go, but you can't do that within the county government, and I get that. So, yes, let's go ahead and do that. As far as the track goes of where we need to go with that, we have a good contractor that's already on board, that's doing the water lines for us. Can we reach out to them and ask them to give us a budget to what it would take to build a track and football complex?
Well, we don't have a contract yet because the state hasn't given us a.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw
And-
that. Well, once we do get them on the
We
contract.
said 2.5 weeks.
I don't think those are the same guys we want doing a
Yeah.
track.
It's a little bit, I'm just saying as far as budget, they're a good contractor budget, they build this stuff all the time.
Well,
No,
But
no,
we
not
have
track. From what
contracted
you're saying,
to senior
it's pretty
center.
specified because of the synthetic nature of it and everything.
But they always work through a GC though.
well, and
Yeah.
we've got an architect too that's gonna be doing the community
I think
thing,
that would
and
be
that will be one of the,
Okay, we can get them.
Components.
Yeah,
we can ask them to give us an initial budget
Yeah.
number.
I think that would be the most appropriate is to go with them because they're looking at designing recreational facilities already.
I guess y'all gonna make me go tromp into the wood a little more now.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, okay.
Little summer.
Yeah,
all
in the
right.
middle of summer, well, we can get you. Don't we?
So I think we have consensus to move forward with looking into the specifics for a track. So it's not a vote motion yet because we're there, but consensus to look into a concept for a track. And I think we're all on board with that. As far as the,
The minutes should reflect it as a consensus.
It's consensus versus the vote, yeah.
Work it out in school, yeah.
that's why I was trying to make sure for
Okay.
Renee, she has consensus.
Yep.
And then as far as the bonus goes. Like I said, I suggest the 1,000 for full-time, 750 for part-time. I think that's,
I'm chair, I motion that move forward on that proposal.
okay. Well, I'm gonna second my own idea. Any discussion?
Yeah, so my discussion is I don't like cookie cutter, as we call it, stamp bonuses. In the federal government, I didn't like it. I had supervisors work for me and they take their money and divvy it up equally for everybody. And I don't like that. I think giving a bonus is acceptable to me, but I think we ought to have some gradation that supervisors, the county manager, assistant county manager work out some kind of thing to where, you know, there's some ability, maybe you give a range. They get a pot of money, number of employees, say you get average 1,000 per employee, but then there has to be, maybe the county manager has final say so, but there is ability for supervisors to recommend some gradation between there. If I have a high performer, instead I want to give him 1,200, and I have a slacker and I want to give him 800, I think that should be some ability to do that. There's incentive to be made there. You appreciate them, but you give incentive to the high performers that they aren't getting the cookie cutter.
See, and I disagree to that to a degree because I've seen where the top tier people get the bigger bonuses and then the lower ones get absolutely nothing basically. And I think that's not fair.
Yeah, but I'm
And
saying,
so for this purpose, I think the ones that are, I think it should be across the board because I feel the same thing as percentages. Exactly, exactly. That's my perspective because I've seen it done.
Yes, I express that.
Yes, I get that, and that's, it's merited that argument, but it's also,
And this isn't from their department heads. This is a gift from us saying that one time from the board of commissioners, not from their directors asking.
yeah, I
for it.
think we
I
approve
think
of
they deserve that. Thank you.
every employee by group, by individual unit. You pick a unit here, you pick each one of these units, and you say, okay, for each employee in here, you allocate 1,000 per employee in that group, and then it's up to the department head and his junior supervisors to grade out where the least person gets at least 50%
plus
less.
or minus 10%.
And see, and I would say I would be for it if we said, you know, future ones, let's set some kind of thing in place so that we have a guide for giving bonuses and an allotment like that. But as far as this one off the top with nothing written down, I would prefer to go forward with the flat rate across the board. And we can look at putting something in place for going forward if we choose to do this again.
I agree about the chair, should be a flat rate.
Because we don't have anything and I think there's too much loose freedom there.
No, I think we're rushing to do this thing, and I won't support doing it at all. If we're gonna rush to just vote and look at it real quick.
I don't think we're rushing, I think our staff should be appreciated, it's gonna have morale, it's fair, we give them just 3% instead of 5%, which will only be a 2% increase. I think this is justifiable, and I think it's fair, and I think it's something that they will appreciate that we're looking out for our staff, our people, which is our number one resource.
I believe the taxpayers will say, seriously, just give it to everybody, what about that deadbeat that argues with me and fusses at me when I call the office here? What about that deadbeat that's standing on the shovel doing nothing? This guy works extra hard. You gave him the same amount as that guy over there. There's tons to be said for giving at least a little bit of gradation. And so while I appreciate it, I think the employees should be recognized. I think this will send the wrong message to the high performers. You're no better than the people that don't do much enough and are slack on duty.
Well, I think those high performers, when we're looking at rate of pay and stuff in the future at the 6 month mark, would be the ones that we
That's
reflect
what
the
this is.
increase there. This is separate from that, in my opinion.
I agree, Madam Chair.
But, what's your,
At this point in time, without having to continue to draw this out and figure out how we want to do it and all that kind of good stuff, because I do agree in principle with Dave that whenever you give bonuses, it should be some type of leeway that the leadership of the county that works with these people day in and day out to understand the work ethic of the folks that are here, the people that are putting in the above and beyond effort should get a little bit more than their average Joe, right? I do agree with that, but at this point in time, for consensus to move forward so we can get this, table out, I'll go ahead and vote for this.
all right, so we will call for a vote then, as is, all in favor and opposed. Okay. What's next? Board of Social Services Director salary.
Well, you said they identified a candidate that would like to make an offer, and they've got a number, and I'm gonna write it out, so it's not spoken. They're asking for concurrence.
Is that right? I
I thought you told me that.
No, I didn't tell you that. I tell you that was,
Well, produce it by 10 and send it over.
No, did I not have the right one?
So my question would be,
this is, Mr. Ranger might know, I don't.
so my question would be, how are they as far as experience comparison to what Willie Smith had? Like, are they brand new coming into this role? Or are they, years of the director somewhere else and coming in with some longevity there from the role?
Oh,
These salary evaluations showing neighboring counties.
Well, I was right then. I was right with the number then.
Is this should we be in closed session if we're not speaking out openly?
It's not a person's name, it's a position, it's not a
Right.
session.
So we should be talking about the number outright then. We should.
Yeah.
It's not a closed session.
Okay, my number was off.
Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
Not a person, we're talking about a position, so we can say it.
So $85,000. So all I'm saying is show me where the number came from. I mean, if you have neighboring counties, you can say.
What would the last position be?
I believe they're looking at someone, is this internal? Do we need to gang?
Mr. Ranger, is it internal
No,
candidate?
that shouldn't be but that shouldn't.
No, that has nothing to do with it.
That shouldn't play into it.
Yeah,
All I'm simply saying is for comparison purposes. Same old,
I mean,
same.
just
How does
experience,
that compare to?
the previous person's salary, yeah.
Less,
Considerably less.
yes, yeah.
11,000 less.
11,000.
Exactly. Yeah. So at this point in time, and I presume that this person was within the county, they're getting a promotion up. That they have a little less experience than what Willie had.
More experience in social services than what we had.
Okay, so.
Okay.
more experience. All right.
So is that a fair price that they get?
I was gonna say, but is that high enough?
How hard is it? It's not hard to go out and find out what our neighboring counties are and other counties of similar size, what they're paying. I mean, we might want to give this person, look, why start, we're gonna have a study, say we're paying fair. Let's do our little study real quickly and say, hey, Mr. Perry, give you credit, before we had a discussion, some of this, you went out and found numbers for some people.
I can do it.
And actually, I think that number was kind of on the low side of
Should
it.
we give one the leeway to do
I
that?
would say that he just did that, so he has those numbers.
I have it for 3 counties over here.
I think we should have our neighboring counties, but then a couple of counties of similar size to us.
Yeah.
We already talked about Washington being depressed, but they're the ones that are closest to us in size and population
Yeah.
and wealth and et cetera. So, have at least a couple counties our size and then our neighboring counties, 4 or 5, gives us a sense of, let's make them a fair offer. Well, let's not start them off low just because we can. Let's give them a fair offer.
We'll try to do that on rapid pace so we can get back to the board of social
Yeah.
services.
Yeah.
and do
Sounds
that.
We're looking at five counties.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, for me, for instance, if on each side, so if you did Hertford, if you did Chilton, for Clemens, and then one other county like Camden's same size as us, but they're growing really big, or Washington
I
County.
did Washington, Camden, and those three, but yeah,
Camden's been one of my sweet five. They're gonna pop out of there this next census, y'all. They're growing like
Yeah.
crazy. They're
They
no
are.
longer gonna be close to us in size.
They had 2 or 3, someone told me they were 2 or 3 now, I thought they were still 2, but.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
They look like they are.
Yeah,
Like, let's make sure we're giving them a fair rate.
yeah, our 40 houses.
Because if you saying they actually have more experience in social services, maybe
Within social
within
services.
social services, make
Yeah.
a valid. All right, so that was all on the list of 12 here. Did you have anything beyond this that's popped up? Do any of us have anything beyond this?
Who was participating with us in advocacy days? Do you know?
It's just the complete,
Just like.
the 10 elected
Okay.
officials, yeah.
I think that'll be a good mix. So we all hash through.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah, y'all
conversation.
stay out of jail.
I will send,
So,
I will send the full packets to you all.
Somebody's gonna come.
Then by the end.
I'm not running, I'm not running.
And it'll be printed for us to take on Tuesday.
that would be good.
I'll send it to y'all by the end of the weekend.
The other item I want to bring up, because we missed it in the last legislative thing, when our lobbyist came, and I had to tell him to add it, was getting the board of elections,
Yes,
the election date moved to the general election time. He didn't have it on there, and we missed the previous cycle.
I'll make sure.
And we, well, I'm saying we can bring it up over there, but can we send another letter to our legislators and remind them that we requested this last year? We had our lobbyists engage them and point out that we've asked you, because I'm getting the daily notices of bills being proposed. And for the last month, there's been a lot proposed that has not been in there.
The things I know we're done.
Appreciate that. I mean, honestly, you let, when that statement's period.
No.
Fine, yeah, okay. It's all good.
Yeah, like your perspective of looking at the local bills getting
Yeah.
passed and recognizing that we're
Yeah, we're not having, yeah, I did, yeah.
All
not.
right. So we
Is
got
that true?
time.
Does Wilson have a good?
Do you have
framework
any?
that you can-
I got one major question that I almost hate to ask, but it's gonna open up no.
You want me to leave the room?
That's why I need to help you understand this. The, bonus. $1,000 for full-time, $750 for part-time. County employees,
That's county and school board employee, like
Now.
all school, all county,
so the same scenario for.
Yeah,
the
because
school,
that-
But I'll have to find out. from
370
what kind of people
total.
they got.
Yeah, there's 370 total,
Okay.
part-time across the board and full-time across.
And then my final question. This is a proposal to put in next year's budget. So that's for July 1st. When do you want to do this?
I think it needs to be done as soon as possible. I mean, yeah,
You also want to do it now, but it-
yeah.
we ain't got budget money right now. let's-
Well, you say you have funds coming in, funds flow, is that an issue, cash flow to be able to do that? Does that affect your cash flow at all?
Do I-
Does that affect your cash flow, want to pay it out right at the start of the year?
No. Well, it could, but no, I think we got enough money in the bank that we can do that. That's not gonna be a cash flow issue. I just want to know when. Or should we?
My goal is for them to have it this summer so that they can,
Okay.
I was thinking Christmas, but that's just me.
Well, see, and I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I was thinking Christmas time is when people really need to get, summertime is great, yeah, you spend.
I will tell you, I've had a few staff from various school and county that have reached out to me in the past.
Well, see, I'm used to my past and
Yeah.
doing something like this on Employee Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
Kind of give a check to them
Right.
and also, so that's the reason I wanted to ask, when were you talking about trying to do this?
Y'all didn't have it in motion, y'all want to amend your motion?
I mean, can we amend the motion after? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know we
Sure.
can. I know we can.
Or just vote on setting the date.
Just vote today now.
Or do you want to set the date after your drive up to Raleigh to the school board and see if
That's true. Scott's actually got good.
Why don't you talk it over as you travel to Raleigh on advocacy?
Well, the school board ones that I have talked to have said if you can do that for them so they can do something this summer, that would be great. And then just people that I've had staff reach out to me in the past couple of days and say, if this goes through, it means the difference for me being able to take my kids to the beach or Busch Gardens for a day or not
You are doing.
this summer.
You come on,
What?
So,
you know, to process this in July.
You
I don't
weren't,
know.
you weren't going on
See,
vacation.
what, for the schools, I'm not gonna be
We'll
doing,
see, all we can do with them, get a number from them and do the
but
calculation.
then we're gonna be able to do the taxes. I mean, this is gonna be complicated.
We'll give it to them on 1099 or whatever, right? You know what they did?
there's a
Well, see, that kind of opens up the other things I need to vote for, the process to get this done.
All right, then when would you like to do this?
I don't know.
So why don't you give it to the county police immediately and give them a couple months to work it out.
We have a few days to think about it.
Yes.
Gotta be.
It should be all good.
So it's going to happen, we just need to work with the school board on figuring out how to make it happen on a timeline that's amenable to everybody. Okay,
Just go come out.
And I don't know if it might not be better to just give the school board the money and let them print the check.
that's what I was
I
wondering.
think that we do that.
That's what I'm saying, figure out how many people they got, what number three, and send it over to them.
I mean, that would be zero nuts.
Whatever the tax rate is, and they can say tax.
That'd be easier for us.
Yeah, they determine this.
We looked at that.
Yeah.
We, as long as this is considered a thank you bonus,
Mhm.
we don't have to pay retirement. They should not have to
This
pay
is
retirement.
this is a thank you bonus.
So we should be able to calculate the
Thank
numbers,
you, appreciation.
calculate the
That
tax,
is what it
and
is.
the money, and let them handle through their payroll for their people,
Yeah,
and we just handle all.
this is a
And
thank
they shouldn't have to pay tax on it either, because that's what I got it from, was the retirement system's little
it's 100%
quick
a
sheet
thank
note
you.
sheet. That
Okay.
if
Yeah.
it's a thank you bonus,
Thank you,
it's not
appreciation.
considered compensation.
Right.
That's the only one I had that gave me a little heartache.
Sorry. Let me be the problem child. Sorry.
I'll do that.
I'm just grateful we could have this setting
Yeah.
where we're really eyeball to eyeball and got everybody around the table. And I was wondering if we call Craig and let him know.
Well, I won't call him today.
One of their beliefs, it's their job.
I'm gonna let him be with his wife's family today.
Oh, that's true.
I'll give him a text to call me when he has a few minutes. Cause I think Leah needs more, so. All right, well, if that is all. Can we get a
Anything, anything
motion
else around?
a motion to adjourn?
Good.
We good?
Only
Looking at
concern I
everybody,
could be
What time are y'all supposed to have gotten off work?
5 o'clock.
we got 9 minutes.
I said we.
Well, we got some overtime work to do here.
I still got one across the street.
All right,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? Yay! We are adjourned, he's got us off the recording.
I'm sorry.